Friday, April 17th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Sean Malone. Mayor Kara Spencer is suing to undo Governor Mike Kehoe's signature legislation. Coming up, I've got his reaction.
I'm Megan Lynch.
Ferguson leaders want to hear more about a proposed overhaul of the former Emerson campus.
That's a red flag for me.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Intervals of clouds and sun today with a thunderstorm around from late morning on, our high reaching 85.
I'm Joe Pott. Despite falling short of the playoffs, the Blues finish on a high note. I've got those details coming up in sports.
Hezbollah says its finger is on the trigger in case Israel violates its new truce with Lebanon. The latest from CBS next.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. The voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by DEA Take Back Day.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Celebrations in the streets of southern Sidon, Lebanon, after a 10-day truce between Israel and Hezbollah went into effect overnight. So far, it appears to be holding. Hezbollah says it has its finger on the trigger in case Israel violates the agreement. The BBC's Yolande Nell from Jerusalem.
Israeli press have really been sort of picking over all of this morning. It caught a lot of people by surprise because it was President Trump himself who came out and made the declaration about this ceasefire. And some members of the security cabinet in Israel had not been properly informed by the prime minister, according to reports.
New U.S.-Iran talks could take place this weekend. New allegations of sexual misconduct on Capitol Hill. This time, Republican Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna tells CBS News The Takeout Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego is facing an ethics investigation.
I think that if this is happening, that it needs to be dealt with. I'm definitely not in the Senate, but I think that they should probably take that seriously and look into it, especially given the nature of what's become apparent regarding Eric Swalwell.
Congressmen Swalwell and Tony Gonzalez both resigned this week over sexual misconduct claims. A year into the president's mass deportation campaign, acting ICE Director Todd Lyons says he'll step down at the end of May. Comes after the agency added some questionable recruits during its recent hiring spree.
Join ICE and help us catch the worst of the worst.
Most of the 12,000 people ICE hired as immigration officers were police or military veterans. But an Associated Press investigation found some had been sued for excessive force or other alleged misconduct in their past jobs. One hire had 2 bankruptcies and 6 law enforcement jobs in 3 years. ICE allowed some new hires to start working before they were fully vetted. The agency says its vetting is an ongoing process. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Police in Los Angeles arrested a 21-year-old singer named David, sub 4 for that A, short for David Anthony Burke, in the murder of a 14-year-old girl. Her body was found in his Tesla 4 months ago. CBS News LA's Lori Perez.
Police say Burke is being held without bail. His arrest coming after he was named a target of a grand jury investigation back in February. The LA County District Attorney's Office said they were aware of the arrest and prosecutors would make a filing decision whether or not to charge him on Monday.
His lawyers deny David killed the teenager. Fastest growing job for young workers, LinkedIn says that for the second year in a row, it is AI engineer. Dow futures are up 157. This is CBS News.
Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 25th. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com.
At 6:03, we have cloudy skies, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, April 17th. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. Ahead of the mayor's State of the City address that's set to take place at 6 tonight, what does former St. Louis intern governor Mike Kehoe believe the state of the city is?
There's a lot of opportunities happening in St. Louis.
Governor Kehoe says he believes the city is in a good spot. However, has the fight over the St. Louis City police budget changed how he views the job Mayor Kara Spencer is doing?
For the most part, Mayor Spencer, I think, has done a good job dealing with things she didn't expect, the tornado and some other things. We'll work through this, and I'll be happy to help her any way we can to try to get to the right spot.
Kehoe says, like with all relationships, you aren't always going to agree with everyone all the time. He adds he wants to hear her plan for the city's economy in her speech. Mayor Spencer's State of the City address will begin at 6. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
You can watch the live stream of the address at the City of St. Louis, Missouri YouTube page.
Mayor Spencer ran for office on getting back to basics, delivering city services more effectively. Tonight, expect the mayor to lay out how the state's increased demands for the police department could impact filling potholes and emptying dumpsters. She tells our news partners at Fox 2.
It's my hope that through the lawsuit that we filed last week, we can end the state takeover of our police department and really reintroduce our police department back into city government where it belongs.
Mayor Spencer has said she supports rank and file police officers, and initially she held back on a lawsuit challenging the state takeover.
It's Destination London for St. Louis County Executive Sam Page.
A judge rules he cannot be stripped of his elected power if he leads a trade delegation to Europe next week. The county council had argued an ordinance required them to transfer power to council chair Rita Days the moment the Page left. A judge disagreed. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young says the judge applied a standard that Americans have seen play out at the highest levels of the federal government.
We've all seen instances at the presidential level where if the president is under anesthesia, the powers of the president temporarily go to the vice president. What Judge Ott did, although not using those words, she essentially found the same thing with regard to the statute or the ordinance in St. Louis County.
The judge applied that same reasoning locally, ruling that Page has to physically be unable to govern before losing his power, not just be out of the country. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Missouri now has a full-time National Weather Service meteorologist stationed at the State Emergency Operations Center in Jefferson City. Public Safety Director Mark James tells Fox 2 the arrangement is a step up from what the state had before.
Weather Service meteorologists, they would drive down from Kansas City or St. Louis or whatever and stay however long needed. So the National Weather Service just decided to permanently assign our own meteorologists to us.
The new liaison, Brandon Dunstan, a Weather Service meteorologist and emergency management specialist. Missouri joins Texas and Kansas in having a dedicated state weather liaison. The service comes at no cost to the state.
Your chance to weigh in on a major highway closure.
If you use 64 in the city, you may be interested in an upcoming public meeting that MoDOT's going to hold. I'm Roger Brand. It's scheduled to be on April 30th between 4 and 7 p.m. at 18 Rails in City Foundry in the city to discuss the upcoming closure in 2027 of eastbound 64 for up to a year between Vanderbilt and Compton to remove and replace that bridge, among other things.
From the KMOX Business Desk, Saturday is the 23rd annual Home Repair Blitz when volunteers from the IBEW NECA Electrical Connection fan out around the area and do free electrical upgrades. This year, 19 low-income homeowners will receive services that include fixing exposed wires, overtaxed circuits, and improperly installed electrical panels. They also install new lights, ceiling fans, and other fixtures. Over the past 23 years, the union electricians have donated services to more than 620 homes through their nonprofit Rebuilding Together.
It is 6:07, and when we return, we'll have the very latest for you on weekend weather and traffic as well with Roger. Stay with us here on Total Information AM on KMOX.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. And for a limited time this April, we're offering something we rarely do. Exclusive incentives designed to help you get more from your new home. From a free finished recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades to flexible perks like design credits or closing cost savings, there's an opportunity waiting for you. But these offers are available in select communities and only for a short time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. It's a great time to buy a brand new McKelvey home, and we have a great deal for you. Special closeout savings at Summerlin and Inverness in St. Charles on move-in ready market homes with savings of up to $124,000 with 4.75% financing. Select from ranch, 1.5 or 2-story McKelvey homes. Hurry before it's too late. Visit McKelveyhomes.com. Isn't it time to move up to McKelvey?
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills. Odoo replaces it all.
One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com. This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is now 6:09. Let's get you caught up here on the very latest with traffic and weather. We do this every 10 minutes because things are ever changing, although not always on a Friday morning when things tend to be a little easier. At least that's what I think. Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, you're right, Debbie. Normally Friday mornings and Thursday mornings, for that matter, are light, but Friday afternoons tend to be kind of hectic. Everybody's trying to get out of town for the weekend or get home to start the weekend, whatever it may be. So, yeah, mornings usually aren't a big deal. The only trouble spot we had, I mentioned at the top of the hour, they had a rescue crash reported southbound 270 just before the Rock Road. It was a report of a vehicle off the roadway. Now, I did see emergency crews in the right lane for a few minutes, and there was a little bit of a slowdown, but it looks like they've already departed. My vantage point's further away, but I don't see the flashing lights now or the little slowdown we had. So maybe this was a crash that occurred earlier last night, and somebody didn't realize it, and they pulled up and said, oh, yeah, that's the one from earlier, and then they got back on their way. But nonetheless, I don't see any delays or emergency crews there. Now, what I do see is still a backup. Eastbound 70 still jammed right at Wright City proper, right in the heart of the city limits there, midway into Forestel, but the slow going goes almost all the way into Forestel. And of course, that's overnight road work that is still with us out that way. Otherwise, the rest of these interstates are quiet so far for you this morning. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Come celebrate our Customer Appreciation Days, April 24th and 25th, and save up to 10 to 20% on trees, shrubs, annuals, tropicals, perennials, houseplants, and more. KMOX will be live on Saturday. Visit www.chesterfieldvalleynursery.com for more details.
Intervals of clouds and sun today. It'll become breezy and very warm this afternoon. Watch out for a thunderstorm, though, from late morning on, high 85. Breezy for a while tonight with a couple of heavy thunderstorms rolling through that can produce destructive winds, hail, flooding, downpours, and even a tornado. It'll change to some rain late tonight as it turns much cooler, low 50. Couple of showers early tomorrow, then clouds give way to sunshine later tomorrow. A windy, much chillier day, high only 59. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's a cloudy morning, 63 degrees in Florissant, 64 in St. Peters, and 62 downtown at the Arch.
I'm Joe Pott. Cards start a series tonight in Houston, and the Blues wrap up the regular season. More coming up in sports.
Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe weighing in on the budget fight between the city of St. Louis and the state-appointed Board of Police Commissioners.
Governor Kehoe called the lawsuit a shame, adding he hopes the disagreement with the board and city is temporary. Kehoe says the budget is a reflection of one's priorities. So I asked if the police budget should be such a high priority. The city has to lay off employees in other departments, as they've warned.
You don't always have to immediately go and say you have to lay somebody off to make a budget work. I ran a businesses for 35 years. There's lots of decisions in a budget before you get to employees being laid off. And I would encourage the leaders in the city to stop scaring people into saying that.
Kehoe adds the board is trying to pay St. Louis police officers what they deserve and still hopes there is a compromise to be found. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Officials inviting the public to help escort a fallen Wentzville fire captain home. Known for saving a boy in a frozen St. Louis lake in 2015, firefighter Tommy Shine died late Sunday after suffering cardiac arrest. A dignified transfer of Shine's body will take place in Wentzville today around 5 p.m. The Wentzville Fire Protection District inviting the public to line the sidewalks during the transfer along Highway A from Highway 61 to Pittman Funeral Home. Shine's funeral service has been scheduled for next Thursday.
Tears of joy after a court hearing in the Pam Hupp murder trial when two strangers found a unique connection. Fox 2 investigator Chris Hayes attended the long-awaited trial.
The new judge came in from Jefferson County, Joe Rathert, who did not waste any time, saying he wants to keep a tight schedule, but decided he just cannot have trial in August.
I think he's anxious to get it done as quick as possible.
Standing with his wife, Carol, Russ Faria was once wrongfully convicted for Betsy Faria's murder. He served more than 3 years in prison before evidence convinced a new prosecutor that Pam Hupp was the real killer and framed Russ. Hupp's been set for trial August 3rd, but a new judge decided a slight delay would be better for everyone.
I'm okay with the delay because I don't want her to have any reason to say
I didn't get a fair trial.
Lincoln County Prosecutor Mike Wood agreed, adding the delay may not be long.
Potentially could be much sooner than the anticipated 2028 court date that the prior judge had listed.
Then this unexpected, tearful moment with two strangers who recognized Russ and Carol.
I started bawling, and I'm so sorry, but I had no clue.
Alicia Neubauer says she was serving time for a drug offense in prison with Hupp. She saw news reports about Pam Hupp luring and nearly killing Carol.
You're so important, and I'm so glad you're here. And she's not, I'm just so glad that she's in there, and she's never gonna get out.
I'm still not completely okay with the term victim when it comes to me because I lived. I'm alive.
This is the only good thing that's ever come from anything she's ever done.
By she, he means Pam Hupp is the person who strangely is the link that led them to meet. They'll be back in court with Pam Hupp April 28th.
Kyle Leahy will make his fourth start of the year tonight as the Cardinals open a series in Houston. Leahy is 1-2 coming off a 4-inning outing Saturday against Boston at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals are 10-8. They sit 1/2 game behind Pittsburgh and Cincinnati in the National League Central Division. Houston has started the year 8-12. The Astros are 2.5 games back in the American League West. Game time tonight is 7:10. That means the pregame show gets started at 6:15. Our Redbird Report is sponsored by Restoration One of Greater St. Louis. The Blues, meanwhile, looking for a strong finish to the 2025-26 season on the road last night in Utah, already with 3 straight wins as they strike first against the Mammoth.
Pass behind Pius Suter, the rock-solid Swiss center. Side of the net, score! Pavel Buchnevich off the carom, and St. Louis strikes first.
That's the NHL on ESPN, 20th of the year for Pavel Buchnevich. Utah tied it going to the second period before taking a 2-1 lead first minute of the second. They almost made it 3-1, but a goal was disallowed. The Blues tied things up midway through the period, and it was 2-2 after this.
Jimmy Snuggerud's hit over the line, tried to feather one through for Holloway. Tucked it back, score! Robert Thomas from Dylan Holloway. We're tied at 2.
First of the night for Robert Thomas. He would get his second less than 3 minutes later. Utah makes it 3-3 going to the third. Well, Logan Malu puts the Blues up 4-3 late in the third. Robert Thomas gets the final tally.
Robert jacks it to the wall, grabbed by Thomas, on for Snuggerud. Thomas ahead of the pack. Thomas scores! And it's a hat trick for Robert Thomas.
His second hat trick in 11 days. Blues win at 5-3. They finish with 86 points, just out of the playoff picture. Head coach Jim Montgomery on the finish to the year.
Well, you always feel better about yourselves when you win. No matter the contest, as we've seen around the league, a lot of people are disappointed with some of the efforts that they've had. We've continued to find ways to win here since the Olympic break. And not making the playoffs, that's going to hurt all summer long.
And what does he take from this year?
What I did learn is that when we're committed to playing the right way, it's 2 years in a row. When we're committed to being on the right side of pucks, and we allow our talented goalies to see pucks and make saves, we can win a lot of hockey games.
Robert Thomas, now 25 goals on the year, explained how his game has evolved.
Looking to shoot more. My line mates set me up great, especially the last couple of weeks. They seem to be going in. So, every year you try and just get better. And, I feel like my shot and just getting into goal scoring areas has improved a lot.
Next sports comes up at 6:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at aminet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:20, and this is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Megan Lynch and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things still look pretty nice out there for most everybody except for folks on Highway 70, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of the Missouri Book Festival April 18th in Washington, Missouri. And that is that jam that's got a little worse. It's backed up now at eastbound 70 right as you hit Wright City, bumper to bumper, about midway into Forestell. The front end of it's looking a little better, so they may be getting things picked up again. Still a solid jam. So we want to talk about our USPS Ground Advantage reliable route. If you're in a hurry, you can either get off at Wildcat Drive or at the Wright City exit there and take Veterans Memorial Parkway east of there to Forestell and get back on the highway if you want to avoid that work jam. Or you can take the North Service Road on the other side of the highway. The choice is yours. We had that crash out 270 off at the Rock Road off the roadway. They took care of that. I don't see any delays. There's also a crash reported off the roadway, no blocking, and I don't see any delays here either. That one is reportedly westbound 70 near Lucas and Hunt. Bring your family and friends out to the Missouri Book Festival on Saturday, April 18th in Washington, Missouri. You'll enjoy cooking demos, live theater, book talk, storytelling, and more, featuring authors from Missouri and beyond. Visit MissouriBookFestival.com for details. Next update is 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're looking for a mix of clouds and sun today. We could see a thunderstorm in places from late morning on, a high 85. Breezy early tonight, a couple of heavy thunderstorms, and then much cooler late tonight, an overnight low around 50. Tomorrow, a couple of showers early, otherwise windy and cool, with clouds giving way to some sunshine for tomorrow afternoon. A high tomorrow just 59 degrees. Right now, cloudy skies, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:22. Locals are rallying to save an historic building. The Quinn Chapel dates back more than 160 years before Carondelet was part of St. Louis City. But a fire last year gutted the building. Katie Graby, preservation specialist with the Landmarks Association of St. Louis.
It's important because, one, it was one of the few buildings left originally constructed by the independent city of Carondelet. So before Carondelet was part of the city of St. Louis. And it also has just been as like a worship center for a Black congregation for a very, very, very long time.
A neighbor has been trying to buy the property. The current owner, who was reluctant to sell, now appears interested in restoration. Tomorrow from 9 to 1 is Quinn Chapel Cleanup Day, as volunteers remove vegetation, debris, and prepare the site for basic stabilization work.
For the first time in Missouri, surgeons at SSM Health St. Clair Hospital in Fenton are using robotic technology to perform shoulder replacement surgery. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer found out more about the procedure when he spoke with orthopedic surgeon Dr. Gary Nelson with Orthopedic Associates and SSM Health St. Clair Hospital.
So for patients who have significant shoulder pain related to a torn rotator cuff and arthritis in their shoulder, we are doing a procedure called reverse shoulder arthroplasty. Now, reverse shoulder arthroplasty has been in use in the United States since about 2007, and we've had a lot of great advances. But the one we're talking about today is using robotics to assist the surgeon in placing the implant, specifically the implant on the sort of socket side. The bone is called the scapula. And the point of that is some patients will come in with severe deformity. If they've got a lot of bone loss or damage to the socket, it can be quite challenging to place that implant reliably. Old technology used an X-ray, and we would go in with manual instruments and sort of choose the best place live in real time as we're operating on a patient. Then technology advanced to a point where we would use a CT scan, which provides us three-dimensional pictures. And that was much, much better at identifying or anticipating problems. But one of the real challenges we would have is we could make a plan in the office before surgery, but we couldn't execute the plan with the level of accuracy that we wanted. The Mako Smart Robotics device helps the surgeon do that. We can finally, with real confidence and real precision, place the implant exactly the way we would plan it, and therefore avoid problems like implant loosening or size mismatch that could leave patients with real problems long term.
How exciting is this?
You know, I think this is going to be a game changer in orthopedic surgery. We're seeing robotic technology coming into play in a lot of ways, and this robotic technology actually gives us a couple of benefits. So this was the first version of the technology. This helps us do just the socket side. In future versions, I believe we'll be able to do both sides of the joint, improving the accuracy and the match of the implants. And ultimately, I think it's going to allow us to gather data that will help us answer some big questions in shoulder surgery. When we do the reverse replacement, there are different philosophies about how it should be done, but no one has really been able to prove that one is better than another. There are other specific complications that we know can arise late and cause a well-functioning shoulder to go bad 2 years, 5 years, or even 10 years down the line. And I believe that with robotic technology, improved accuracy, and the ability to gather data at the time that we perform the surgery, we'll actually be able to personalize the treatment. We'll be able to look at a patient and say, for your age, for your gender, for your bone shape and size, this is the best way to do this surgery. And now I can be confident that I've given you the very best that technology has to offer.
What's the recovery time like for this type of surgery, and are there side effects?
Yeah, those are great questions. So one of the reasons that my patients really love the reverse shoulder arthroplasty is that the recovery time is faster than a traditional shoulder replacement, faster than a rotator cuff repair, where we would reattach torn muscles and try to give the patient the shoulder that they had when they were, say, 25 years younger. The recovery generally involves a week or two wearing a sling, and then the patient coming out of the sling to do gentle range of motion activities under the guidance of a therapist. By 6 weeks, most patients are raising their arm to shoulder level or above and actually starting to care for themselves and return to their activities of daily living, as well as some of their leisure activities. Certainly by 3 months, most patients after a reverse shoulder arthroplasty feel that they have recovered fully and are engaged in all kinds of activities, swimming, tennis, cycling, whatever it is that they're trying to get back to, most patients are doing by 3 months.
That's orthopedic surgeon Dr. Gary Nelson with Orthopedic Associates and SSM Health St. Clair Hospital.
It is 6:27. The time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
In St. Louis, the weather can change in an instant. One day, you're under a thunderstorm warning. The next,
oh boy, it's snowing.
Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws your way. When weather threatens, the KMOX Storm Center has expert forecasts and live reports here to keep you safe and informed. Don't get caught off guard. Know your weather. Sponsored by
Saliga Heating and Cooling.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jin.
We're starting a program here in the upper GI space called PREVENT. That's the acronym, and it's really aimed at trying to detect these cancers early and even to kind of, reverse them and understand kind of the science behind why they form.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, visit siteman.washu.edu.
If you've got spring fever, Lowe's has the cure. During Springfest, make your landscape stand out with 3 free bags of Miracle-Gro 3/4 cubic foot garden soil when you buy 3. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances to keep clothes, food, and dishes fresh all season long. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details. Soil offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I opened a restaurant and needed everything. Menus, signage, catering brochures.
Everything and then some.
I went to Staples. They printed it all and even suggested takeout menus.
One money pit with a side of fries.
But now at Staples, you get up to $125 off custom print orders.
$125 off. Now you're cooking. Brand your business in a big way at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in store, online, or in the app by 4/18 to unlock. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep, Graybar does that.
Don't miss Mosby Building Arts Home Improvement Show, Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX. One of the last call-in shows where you can get live answers to your remodeling, design, and construction questions. Tune in Saturdays at 11 a.m.
At 6:30, we have cloudy skies, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and this is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things are getting better, Debbie, on eastbound Highway 70. There's just a shorter backup right through Wright City. It opens up right as you get past that Wright City main exit, and then it's a pretty good run into Forestell. So it looks like they have the barrels picked up from the overnight road work, just a short jam there now. Building volume in other areas, but again, it's still really not all that bad. Northbound 55 has a little bit of a slowdown north of Highway A, and it's also a little slow north of Bayless approaching Weber. Other than that, we're in good shape. There's a crash reported westbound 70 past 5th Street. I know there's one right now on northbound 94 at the ramp to eastbound 70. The right lane on that ramp is blocked, and MoDOT's headed that way to assist with that one. But I don't see any delays on 70 westbound through 5th Street right now, and I don't see any delays on the Illinois side either. Things continue to roll headed for the downtown bridges. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're going to have a mix of clouds and sun today. Breezy, very warm this afternoon with a high of 85 degrees. We also have a chance of thunderstorms in places from late morning on, the heaviest being this evening. It'll be cooler tonight with an overnight low of 50. Right now, cloudy skies, 62 downtown at the Arch.
It's wheels up for the St. Louis County Executive. Sam Page will not relinquish his power to council chair rid of her days after he was granted a temporary restraining order blocking an ordinance that would give those powers over if he left the country. Page was concerned her days would abuse the power to retaliate against department heads or sign a lease for a new county headquarters. Page is set to fly out tomorrow on the inaugural St. Louis to London flight via British Airways.
Now a follow-up on Project Butterfly as the scale of tax breaks being asked of Ferguson comes into focus.
The latest council meeting revealed the city is considering up to $1.5 billion in tax abatements for the developer, Jim Onder. While the scale of the break is unprecedented for Ferguson, Councilman David Williams argues the city has to subsidize the project to secure the long-term revenue of what could be a Silicon Valley-style tech hub.
Sometimes you have to give a little bit to get. Starting a business is very hard. You spend a lot of money up front and you don't get anything back. And sometimes you don't turn a profit to several months or a year, but you put that money up front. So, I get it. People are like, hey, these are millionaires or billionaires. I get that. But think how much money they have to put out to even get this started. So we help them a little bit, tax incentives to get started. But in the long run, it pays off.
The proposal would require the developer to invest at least $175 million by 2029, though critics note the massive investment may only yield about 100 new full-time jobs. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 6:33. We've got your Bloomberg Money Minute next.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show. It's not the same old talk. It's fresh, it's different, and it's local. Chris and Amy dig into the news that matters, but they also keep it light, keep it fun, and keep you smiling. Serious when it needs to be, silly when it can be. That's pure entertainment with a local heartbeat. The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays at 9 on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, you could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
Taking care of your health should be simple. And with the Neovitin monthly subscription, it finally is. Choose your doctor-formulated multivitamin and we'll deliver it straight to your door every month. No more running out, no more remembering to reorder, just consistent nutrition made easy. Plus, subscribers save 10% every month and can pause or cancel at any time. Visit neovitin.com and start your subscription today. Neovitin, trusted nutrition every day.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Shares of Netflix are tumbling this morning. The company gave a financial forecast that disappointed Wall Street investors. Netflix says it plans to boost its spending on programming this year. Separately, the streaming pioneer also announced that chairman and co-founder Reed Hastings is stepping down from the board of the company. A change in momentum for stocks, which are looking at a third week of gains. Speculation is growing that a deal to end the war between the U.S. and Iran is getting closer. Meantime, tough news for the class of 2026. Competition for entry-level jobs is intensifying. This year's graduating seniors have submitted 23 applications for every full-time role posted on entry-level jobs listing platform Handshake. That's double the number for the class of 2023. Unemployment among young college grads has been tracking higher than the national average since the pandemic, with entry-level postings plummeting across many industries, including tech and finance. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Do you ever feel like people are mumbling more than they used to? Or maybe conversations at restaurants and family gatherings have gotten harder to follow? If this sounds familiar, it might be time to learn more about your hearing. That's why we're inviting you to a special lunch and learn at the Audiology Center. This event is on April 29th for various time slots. It's a relaxed and friendly gathering where our certified audiologists will talk about hearing and hearing loss, answer your questions, and share how today's hearing aids can help you connect with the moments that matter most. Hearing loss often happens slowly, and many people don't realize how much they're missing. It's important to know how untreated hearing loss can negatively affect you in the long term. It's a no-pressure event, just good conversation and good information, and lunch is on us. Seats are limited, so please call 636-441-7470 to reserve your spot for our free lunch and learn at the Audiology Center on April 29th. Take the first step towards hearing more clearly.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today,
the Cards, the Astros.
Ameren Total Access 6:15. First pitch 7:10.
Cardinals Radio, 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:38. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announcing to his nation he's agreed to a temporary 10-day ceasefire in Lebanon to give time to forge President Trump's initiative for a peace deal between Israel and Lebanon. In a video statement, Netanyahu said a peace deal must include the dismantling of Iran-backed Hezbollah militants. He added that Israeli forces will remain in southern Lebanon.
The Trump administration has abruptly canceled an $11 million contract with Catholic charities to shelter and care for migrant children who enter the U.S. alone. The move effectively ended a relationship between the Catholic Church and the U.S. government that dates back to the first arrivals of Cuban exiles in South Florida. Some Catholic officials want the administration to reconsider this decision.
The U.S. House has passed legislation that would extend temporary protections for Haitian immigrants living in the United States. The House legislation pushed through by Democrats and a few Republicans over the objections of GOP leadership. It would require a 3-year extension of temporary protected status for Haitians as their nation is roiled by gang violence. The Supreme Court is expected to hear a case soon that would end protected status for Haitian and Syrian immigrants.
6:40. We owe you an update on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, they're pretty quiet right now, Megan, all things considered. This traffic reports a service of the Missouri History Museum's Route 66 Centennial Festival, April 30th through May 3rd. In fact, it's getting a lot better on 70. Eastbound coming through Wright City. There's just a little slowdown at Forestdale, so really not bad at all there. Things have sorted themselves out. A report of a highway hardware special ladder reported in the roadway westbound 70 west of Highway K, so pay attention if you're traveling that way. North 270 still looks good, no big deal there. Northbound 55, just a couple of slow spots. It's a little busy right as you approach 141 up to the Merrimack, and then there's a couple of slow stretches between Bayless and Virginia. Just a couple of slow downs, not a jam by any stretch of the imagination there. Downtown, westbound, we still look great. On 64th at 159 and headed for the bridges, I'm not seeing any delays or issues there. They are working that one minor crash, northbound 94 at the eastbound 70 ramp, just the right lane blocked for that one. Don't miss the Route 66 Festival at the Missouri History Museum, April 30th through May 3rd. Music from Sweetie and the Toothaches, a classic car show, neon display, kids crafts, and more. Schedule at mohistory.org/festival. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company at St. Louis Traffic Center.
Let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. A lot of outdoor events over this weekend. How is it looking if we're going to get them all in or not?
Most of today will be fine. We'll see clouds and sun. It's going to get breezy and very warm. We'll get to 85. I can see a shower or thunderstorm that pops up during the late morning and afternoon hours, but those should not be severe. The problem is going to be tonight. Pretty much any time from, say, 8 o'clock tonight till maybe 2, 3 in the morning, there could be some heavy thunderstorms, a couple of them that roll through, and ones that do occur could produce destructive winds, hail, flooding downpours, and yes, a risk for tornadoes. So that's on the docket for the overnight hours. That tapers to a couple of showers late tonight and first thing tomorrow, the low 50. The rest of tomorrow, just windy and cooler, but we see sunshine returning for the afternoon, the high 59. Sunday's the better of the 2 weekend days, a lot of sunshine, breezy, the high 69. We get to 75 with sunshine on Monday, and then partly sunny Tuesday, the high 81. Right now, 64 at St. Peter's, 63 in Florissant, some clouds, and 65 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Dunberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm Joe Pott. I'll tell you who's hot as the Cardinals start a series tonight in Houston.
More news now at 6:42. The Missouri governor's push to eliminate the state income tax means other taxes would have to go up. And in a late-night session in Jefferson City this week, Senate Republicans pushed through a new plan that would allow expanded sales tax that could be placed on any goods and any services. The bill was introduced at 11:30 at night and passed about an hour later, but not without dissent from all Senate Democrats and a handful of Republicans.
Assuming that legislation is approved in a final House vote, Missouri voters will be asked in November whether to eliminate the state income tax, which makes up about 2/3 of state revenue. Critics say this tax shift will be a benefit to the wealthy while shifting the burden to working class and poor Missourians.
Metro East Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski is pushing for new bipartisan legislation to ensure government officials can't profit from the privileged information they handle. The PREDICT Act would ban senior officials from participating in prediction markets, citing the need for a clear ethical boundary between speculative betting and illegal insider trading. Budzinski says the integrity of public service is at stake.
There is a clear difference between making an educated guess on what can happen and insider trading. Public servants should not be profiting off of privileged information that is entrusted to them by the American people.
Under the proposed law, violators would face civil penalties and be forced to turn over any profits to the U.S. Treasury.
Missouri's 29 abandoned landfills could be closer to being cleaned up under a new bill sponsored by Republican Senator Ben Brown of Washington. The bill reallocates $1 million a year from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources to restoration efforts. According to experts, abandoned sites are often more difficult to handle because they don't have a person legally liable to take care of the land. Brown wants to solve this by giving the DNR more oversight in the remediation process.
And in those cases right now, technically, the department's hands are tied. This would untie them.
A new preschool planned for North St. Louis will focus only on boys. Founder and executive director Cortega Collins tells KMOX the natural behavior of boys is often disciplined.
So we wanted to create a space where boys could be themselves authentically, where they can learn social emotional development, because we want to make sure that when they enter kindergarten that they are ready.
There's also a focus on male teachers. The Good Shepherd Academy for Boys had a ceremonial groundbreaking yesterday. It's funded by ARPA and community block grants.
Who's Hot, Who's Not is sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, and Making Memories. The Cardinals start a series tonight in Houston. First baseman Alec Burleson brings a 4-game hitting streak into the series. He's 7 for 18, a .389 average over those 4 games. And in 3 of those 4 games, he's had multiple hits, including a big swing Wednesday that helped the Cards win the series against Cleveland.
Church at third, Scott at second, Herrera at first. Ground ball that goes up the middle, over second, on through. That's going to score 2 on the base hit to center field. Herrera takes third. That ball just kept moving through the middle infield, avoiding the gloves of Rocchio and Brito, the shortstop and second baseman. And the Cardinals have added on and lead 4-1.
For the year, Burleson is hitting .279, a .787 OPS, and a couple of home runs. The Astros have started the year just 8-12. They own Major League Baseball's worst team ERA at 6.01 as a pitching staff, and they've allowed 117 runs so far this year. That's the most in baseball. First pitch tonight is 7:10. Ameren Total Access pregame show is 6:15. Blues grabbed their 4th straight win last night as they closed out the regular season on the road in Utah. They win 5-3. Robert Thomas picked up his second hat trick in 11 days and finished the season with 25 goals. Pavel Buchnevich added a goal, and he finishes the year with 20. Busy last week for St. Louis City, coming off a 1-1 draw in New York last Saturday, a U.S. Open Cup win Wednesday in St. Louis. They're on to Seattle, where they face the Sounders tomorrow night. Jen Cease has more in the City Spotlight.
St. Louis City SC is back on the road this weekend, heading to the West Coast to face the Seattle Sounders in MLS play. City comes in unbeaten in their last 3 league matches and fresh off a 4-0 win in U.S. Open Cup action. But Seattle has been a difficult matchup, especially on the road. Head coach Yoann Demay says the group has grown since their last meeting earlier this season.
It's very difficult to go into the game this weekend and look solely at our performance against them like 4 or 5 weeks ago. It feels like it was a month ago, to be honest. So that's how much we've played since then, and that's how much we've improved, I think, as well.
Seattle enters the match coming off a frustrating midweek result, winning their second leg in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, but falling short on aggregate to miss out on the semifinals. Demay says the focus is now on recent form and building a clear plan for a different kind of challenge at Lumen Field on Saturday. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
Kickoff is 8:30 Central Time tomorrow night on our sister station, Y98. More soccer, the indoor variety. The Ambush are home tonight. They start the semifinal round of the MASL Ron Newman Cup playoffs. They'll face San Diego in Game 1 of that series. Kickoff is set for 7:05 at the Family Arena tonight. Next sports update comes up at 7:15. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman for St. Louis Composting. Composting is very important. Soil is very important. Mulch is very important. For your yard, soil with 5% or more organic matter is the gold standard. It creates better structure. It locks in nutrients. It dramatically improves water retention. Now is the perfect time for a full landscape cleanup. Add compost to your garden beds to prep for planting season. And mulch. Refresh your entire landscape with a fresh layer of mulch in your flower beds and around your trees. It's the fastest way to make your yard pop with a beautiful, well-kept look. How do you do all of that? You just go to stlcompost.com. They have a menu of everything you could possibly want or need. They even have a material calculator at stlcompost.com to figure out exactly how much soil or mulch your project requires. 9 retail locations all over the area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is now 6:50 and time for traffic and weather. Roger Brand has the very latest on your Friday morning commute from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, not much to be concerned about, Debbie, on the highways right now. Eastbound 70 is just a little slow at Wentzville Parkway, and it's a little slow from 64 through Highway A. After that, it's a good run all the way in through the 270 interchange. North 270 still wide open from 55 up through Gravois, Manchester, both directions around the work zone. 64 to Ladue, there aren't any issues there. If you're traveling on northbound 55 itself, looks good down south. There's just a little bit of a slowdown. 141 toward the Merrimack as you enter that work zone, and just a little slow right now, at least, Loughborough, Holly Hills, but the rest of it looks good to go. And on the Illinois side, still clear, westbound 64 coming through 159, and no delays across the Poplar and Musel Veterans Bridges. And we still have the restrictions downtown on 9th and Cass, so we have a water main break. Cass is closed, I think, between Tucker and 12th Street and Broadway, so just keep that in mind if you normally travel through that area. Maybe a while before they can get all that redone and reopened. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage.
Business moves fast. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Checking that forecast for today, we may see some thunderstorms later on today, especially this evening. It will be breezy, very warm this afternoon with a high of 85, but tonight we'll get down to a low of 50. And then tomorrow, a couple of showers around early. Otherwise, windy and cool, clouds giving way to sunshine in the afternoon, but the high tomorrow is going to be around 59. Right now, cloudy skies, 62 downtown at the Arch.
It is 6:52 and the news continues. A portion of Cass Avenue is closed due to a large water main break. That's in North City. It happened on a 30-inch main and is located at 8th and Dickens Street in the Columbus Square neighborhood. This happened overnight, and crews are currently working to fix the break and turn the water off, and nearby streets appear to be flooded.
The latest snapshot of the regional economy shows businesses getting creative with staffing. Charles Gaskin, economist and assistant vice president at the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, tells KMOX's Total Information AM that he's seeing some interesting trends.
Businesses telling us that they want to replace departing workers for critical positions. So they are still being selective as to kind of what positions they're backfilling. And then at the same time, they're having people that retire and they're struggling to find another person to replace them. And they're actually bringing some of these retirees back on a flexible basis.
Businesses also tell the Federal Reserve they're hiring more temporary workers due to economic uncertainty.
The race for refugees has raised more than $60,000 for the work of the International Institute. The agency has struggled under Trump administration policies regarding refugees and immigrants. However,
there's more support now than ever. The community is rallying around our refugees and immigrant neighbors. Showing up to the race is a part of them showing solidarity and support and making sure that clients that we serve feel that there are people in St. Louis who are welcoming of them.
The International Institute's Samson Hillary says people can still register individually or as a team. It's a 5K run or 1 mile walk Saturday morning in Tower Grove Park.
St. Louis County's historic baseball team will make its debut at tomorrow's ball game. The St. Louis Brown Stockings will tee off against the Lafayette Square Cyclones at 11 a.m. at Jefferson Barracks. What makes the game so historic? The players play by 1860 baseball rules, which means no gloves or sliding, and even wear vintage baseball outfits. Jeffrey Edison, museum educator with St. Louis County Parks and Recreation, says this weekend's game is only one of 3 home games this season.
And it's such a retro feeling, too. Again, you have these buildings that are just a little bit older than the time frame that we're playing in. So it's a great feeling of seeing the old school uniforms with these old school buildings too.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Today's KMOX birthday shout out sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Celebrity birthdays for this Friday, April 17th include actor David Bradley of Game of Thrones. He's 84. Actor Sean Bean of Lord of the Rings, 67. Actress Jennifer Garner is 54. And singer-designer Victoria Beckham of the Spice Girls, 52.
Local celebrity birthdays include Bonnie Harper and Edie Sandoval of O'Fallon, Illinois. Evan Wannenberg, happy birthday from mom and dad. Also celebrating today, Sarah Fensky, John Sheehan, Lieutenant Colonel Renee Kreisman, Sue King, Amy Gill, Shannon Grass, Rachel Witt, Kevin Jennings, and David Murphy.
This is the best birthday ever.
Hi, St. Louis. This is Ben Barnett. I'm a board-certified master arborist, and I've been caring for St. Louis trees for over 25 years. Today, I'm going to help you choose a tree care contractor. Here's how it's done, so pay close attention. First, call everyone you know who has ever done any type of outdoor work, including that cousin that used to sleep on your couch. Leave them all messages and wait around to see if they call back. Here's a hint, they won't. Now, post to all your social media that you are looking for recommendations for a good tree service. Now, beware because there will be hundreds of different recommendations. So you need to carefully go through each one, checking that they have the proper insurance, background checks, and even the slightest idea of what they're doing. Schedule a bunch of appointments, and when nobody shows up, get really frustrated and put the whole project off for another year. Or you could just call Timberline Professional Tree Care, 636-479-7475, or visit us online at treecare.com.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Beat the spring cleaning rush at Zero Res this week. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $129 and whole system air duct cleaning for just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com to book your appointment. That's ZeroResSTL.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
And Doug.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game.
Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug!
Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down.
Hey!
Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Let's see how things are moving on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
That's been a pretty easy morning so far, Megan. Friday mornings tend to be light. They certainly are this morning. I mean, and we're getting into this time where we get sort of a lull around 7 a.m. anyway. So right now, northbound 55 is trouble-free. I mean, down in Festus, approaching the Merrimack and that construction zone, north of Bayless, you enter that work zone. No delays at all. 64 and 70 coming in from out west. Wentzville Way looks good. There's no delay on southbound 61 right now. They look good across the Missouri River bridges. 270 through the construction zone at Ladue, either direction, but especially northbound this time of day. It's a good run from 55 all the way up to that point. Downtown, westbound 64 coming through 159, and Fallon Fairview Heights is still clear, and it's wide open across the Poplar Musial Veterans Bridges. Still seeing a little bit of delay, Route 3 around 8th Street. And don't forget the restrictions at 9th and Cass due to that water main break. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Friday, April 17th. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
A judge decides St. Louis County Executive Sam Page leaving the country is NBD.
For example, if Sam Page hypothetically had to appear for a meeting, he could do so via Zoom.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
I'm Megan Lynch.
This is KMOX Health Editor Fred Bottomer. It's a first for Missouri. Robotic-assisted shoulder replacement surgery. That story is coming up.
I'm Joe Pott. The Cardinals are in Houston tonight as they start a 6-game road trip. I've got more on the Redbirds coming up in sports.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Intervals of clouds and sun today with a thunderstorm around from late morning on. Breezy and very warm this afternoon, high 85.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by DEA Take Back Day.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Joy in southern Lebanon. People in Sidon celebrating in the streets after a 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah went into effect overnight. It appears to be holding, but Hezbollah says it has its finger on the trigger in case Israel makes a new move. The BBC's Karine Toby is in southern Lebanon.
A lot of people have left their towns for weeks now, and this is the first day they're coming back. And they're seeing horrific scenes of destruction. Lots of people are coming back cautiously. They're slowing down, looking at the sites of the destruction, and then moving on.
Pope Leo has arrived in Cameroon, where he's said Mass. Earlier in the day, he referenced the Iran war, saying woe to those who manipulate religion in the very name of God for their own military, economic, and political gain. President Trump.
The Pope can say what he wants, and I want him to say what he wants, but I can disagree. I think that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
The president's nominee for CDC director turns out to be a vaccine supporter.
Dr. Erica Schwartz is a rear admiral currently serving as the Coast Guard's director of health. She was a deputy surgeon general during Trump's first term. Schwartz has praised vaccines as a cornerstone of prevention. Her nomination is a sign the Trump administration is turning away from Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy's vaccine skepticism ahead of the midterm elections. If the Senate confirms her, Schwartz would be the CDC's fourth leader in just over a year. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
A singer named David is in custody in California in the murder of a teenage girl. Correspondent Matt Gutman has details from L.A.
A tense scene in the Hollywood Hills on Thursday night. Video obtained by TMZ shows heavily armed officers arresting the singer David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke, on suspicion of murdering 14-year-old Celeste Rivas. Rivas first disappeared from her home southeast of Los Angeles in April of 2024. Last September, police discovered a gruesome scene, her decomposed and dismembered remains inside David's Tesla.
Last weekend, fans at Coachella were disappointed when high winds kicked up in Indio, California, creating a dust storm.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad for an angel.
A set by DJ Anima had to be canceled. The artist explained the gusty conditions made it impossible to build a stage and perform safely. Researchers say windstorms are only the beginning there. A study found damage from wind and dust erosion cost the U.S. about $154 billion in 1 year alone. This is CBS News.
Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 25th. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
At 7:04, we have cloudy skies, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
And I'm Debbie Monterrey. A portion of Cass Avenue is closed after a large water main break in North St. Louis. It happened on a 30-inch main, and it's located at 8th and Dickens Street in the Columbus Square neighborhood. The break occurred overnight. Crews are currently working to fix the break and turn the water off in nearby streets that appear to be flooded.
Ahead of the mayor's State of the City address that's set to take place today at 6, what does former St. Louis intern Governor Mike Kehoe believe the state of the city is?
There's a lot of opportunities happening in St. Louis.
Governor Kehoe says he believes the city is in a good spot. However, has the fight over the St. Louis City police budget changed how he views the job Mayor Kara Spencer is doing?
For the most part, Mayor Spencer, I think, has done a good job dealing with things she didn't expect, the tornado and some other things. We'll work through this, and I'll be happy to help her any way we can to try to get to the right spot.
Kehoe says, like with all relationships, you aren't always going to agree with everyone all the time. Yet he wants to hear her plan for the city's economy in her speech. Mayor Spencer's State of the City address will begin at 6. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
And you can watch a live stream of that address at the City of St. Louis, Missouri YouTube page.
Mayor Spencer gives a preview of her priorities.
It's my hope that through the lawsuit that we filed last week, we can end the state takeover of our police department and really reintroduce our police department back into city government where it belongs.
Spencer ran for office with a focus on the fundamentals like trash pickup and potholes. Expect tonight for her to tout a new dashboard, which purports to give taxpayers a report card on how effectively those services are being delivered.
It's wheels up for the St. Louis County Executive. County Executive Sam Page will not relinquish his power to Council Chair Rita Hurd Days after he was granted a temporary restraining order blocking an ordinance which would give those powers over if he left the country. Page was concerned Hurd Days would abuse power to retaliate against department heads or sign a lease for a new county headquarters. Page is set to fly out on the inaugural St. Louis to London flight via British Airways this weekend.
Does the proposed $22 billion overhaul of the former Emerson campus pose a financial risk to Ferguson taxpayers?
Well, the development was initially framed as a private purchase. Details of the bond proposal indicate the city would actually own the site and lease it back to the developers. Resident Topher Slick warns this leaseback arrangement effectively shifts the risk back onto the public, noting a provision outlining limited liability for the city also has a severability clause.
So all of the liability for this can be put on Ferguson at the end of the day. Now, how much liability are we talking? At the low end, that's $1 billion. At the high end, that's $22 billion. The Rams Stadium was a much smaller investment.
That warning appeared to catch the council off guard. Councilman David Williams, who has generally supported the project, admits that ownership structure is not what he expected.
That's concerning to me. So, I want to talk to the lawyers and understand that piece. I was under the understanding that they're going to buy the property, which makes the liability on them, not us. So that's a red flag for me.
The council could meet twice next week to take votes on the tech center proposal. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
From the KMOX Business Desk, Saturday is the 23rd annual Home Repair Blitz when volunteers from the IBEW NECA electrical connection fan out around the area to do free electrical upgrades. This year, 19 low-income homeowners will receive services that include fixing exposed wires, overtaxed circuits, and improperly installed electrical panels. They will also install new lights, ceiling fans, and other fixtures. Over the past 23 years, the union electricians have donated services to more than 620 homes through their nonprofit Rebuilding Together.
It is 7:08, and it looks like a beautiful morning out the windows here of Studio B. We'll get the latest forecast and a look at the traffic next on Total Information AM.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. It's a great time to buy a brand new McKelvey home, and we have a great deal for you. Special closeout savings at Summerlin and Inverness in St. Charles on move-in ready market homes with savings of up to $124,000 with 4.75% financing. Select from ranch, 1.5 or 2-story McKelvey homes. Hurry before it's too late. Visit McKelveyhomes.com. Isn't it time to move up to McKelvey?
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
7:10. Let's see how things are going on the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're into that lull we get a lot of times, Megan, this time of day. Things sort of quiet down before we get to our peak rush hour volume around 7:40. So right now, believe it or not, lighter traffic on a Friday means we're wide open. It looks like it did, 5:40 this morning when I did my first report. Actually, it was worse then because we had that backup on 70 and Forestell. There isn't that any longer. And in the rest of the work zones, things are rolling along. I'm not seeing any delays. Festus at the Merrimack, north of Bayless on 55, 270 at Ladue looks good. I mentioned 70 out west, clear 64 in the O'Fallon Fairview Heights area, still rolling. Downtown bridges look all right. To just go look at the secondaries, Route 3 around 8th Street's a little busy. There's some slow traffic on the Route 3 coming out of Granite City, south of 270 in these work zones, and of course down closer to Broadway in the heart of Granite City. So just aside from those little issues, the rest of the roadways look great. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, intervals of clouds and sun today. There can be a thunderstorm in the area from late morning on. This afternoon will be breezy and very warm, high 85. Breezy early tonight with a couple of heavy thunderstorms moving through. There's a significant risk for destructive winds, hail, flash flooding, and even tornadoes with those thunderstorms. That'll evolve to periods of rain late tonight as it turns much cooler, low 50. Tomorrow, a couple of showers around early, then windy and quite cool as clouds break for sunshine, the afternoon high 59. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We do have some sunshine and some impressive clouds as well in downtown St. Louis, 62 degrees.
Cards opening a series tonight in Houston. Blues wrapping up the regular season. Details in sports.
It's 7:12. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe calling the lawsuit from Mayor Kara Spencer against the Board of Police Commissioners a shame and says he hopes there's a compromise that can be found on the budget. Kehoe says budgets are a reflection of priorities and public safety should be at the top.
They want safer community. They want safer streets. Businesses want to be able to operate for their employees and their customers. So public safety is something that you have to prioritize. And when you do, I think communities flourish.
Kehoe adds city leaders should stop scaring people by saying there will be layoffs if too much funding is given to the police department, adding other things could be cut first.
St. Louis police looking for recruits, and they want to make it as easy as possible to sign up. The department is hosting a fast-track testing day on May 6th, where candidates can apply, take their fitness test, and interview all in one visit. The department is down several hundred officers from just a few years ago. Starting pay is $56,000 a year.
It was supposed to be a routine Pam Hupp hearing, but outside a Lincoln County courtroom, a chance encounter turned emotional. A woman named Alicia Neubauer spotted Russ and Carol Faria and broke down in tears. Neubauer says she was serving time on a drug offense when she was incarcerated alongside Pam Hupp and saw news reports about Hupp luring and nearly killing Carol Faria.
Fox 2 yesterday caught Neubauer's emotional message to Faria.
You're so important, and I'm so glad you're here. And she's not, I'm just so glad that she's in there, and she's never gonna get out.
Inside the courtroom, a new judge delayed Hupp's murder trial past this summer, though the prosecutor says it should still happen before 2028. Hupp is accused of framing Russ Faria for his late wife Betsy's murder, a conviction that was later overturned after Faria spent more than 3 years behind bars. They'll all be back in court on April 28th.
Today, St. Louis soccer fans can view and take pictures with the World Cup trophy. CEO of Heartland Coca-Cola, Justin Bridgman, says the biggest upset in World Cup history was full of players from St. Louis.
One of the biggest upsets in World Cup happened where the United States beat England in the 1950 World Cup 1-0. What a lot of folks do not know is that St. Louis almost comprised half of the players on that team.
The trophy will be on display at Westport Plaza. The tour is free. Tickets can be found online at Coca-Cola's website.
It'll be Kyle Leahy on the mound tonight as he makes his fourth start of the year as the Cardinals open a series in Houston. Kyle Leahy is 1-2, coming off a 4-inning outing Saturday against Boston. The Cardinals are 10-8, and they sit just one half game behind Pittsburgh and Cincinnati in the National League Central Division. Of course, a big part of that start, at least part of that start, is because of the play of Jordan Walker.
The pitch. Walker lines it left field. That's down. An 11-game hitting streak as the ball is cut off on the track by Martinez. Into third goes Weatherholt, and Walker has a double. That's his third double of the year.
And that, of course, is the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, from Wednesday as they beat Cleveland. That's our cut of the game. It's sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. Houston, meanwhile, they've started the year just 8-12. They're 2.5 games back in the American League West. First pitch tonight is 7:10, pregame coverage at 6:15. The Blues looking for a strong finish to the 25-26 season. Last night on the road in Utah, already with 3 straight wins in hand, they strike first against the Mammoth.
Pass behind Pius Suter, the rock-solid Swiss center. Side of the net, score! Pavel Buchnevich off the carom, and St. Louis strikes first.
That's the NHL on ESPN, 20th of the year for Pavel Buchnevich. Utah ties it going to the second period before taking a 2-1 lead in the first minute of the second. They almost made it 3-1. They had a goal disallowed. The Blues then tie things up midway through the period.
Jimmy Snuggerud's in over the line, trying to feather one through for Holloway. Tucked it back, score! Robert Thomas from Dylan Holloway. We're tied at 2.
First of the night for Robert Thomas, and he gets his second less than 3 minutes later to put the Blues back on top 3-2. Utah ties it going into the third. It's 3-3. Logan Mayhew puts the Blues up 4-3 late in the third, and then it's Robert Thomas for the final goal.
Broberg jacks it to the wall, grabbed by Thomas, on for Snuggerud. Thomas ahead of the pack. Thomas scores, and it's a hat trick for Robert Thomas.
His second in 11 days. Hat tricks, that is. Blues win it 5-3. They finish at 37, 33, and 12. 86 points just out of the playoff picture. Head coach Jim Montgomery on the finish to the year.
Well, you always feel better about yourselves when you win. No matter the contest, as we've seen around the league, a lot of people are disappointed with some of the efforts that they've had. We've continued to find ways to win here since the Olympic break. And not making the playoffs, that's going to hurt all summer long.
And what he takes from this year.
What I did learn is that when we're committed to playing the right way, it's 2 years in a row. When we're committed to being on the right side of pucks, and we allow our talented goalies to see pucks and make saves, we can win a lot of hockey games.
I'm back at 7:45. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
In St. Louis, the weather can change in an instant. One day, you're under a thunderstorm warning. The next,
oh boy, it's snowing.
Stay prepared for whatever Mother Nature throws your way. When weather threatens, the KMOX Storm Center has expert forecasts and live reports here to keep you safe and informed. Don't get caught off guard. Know your weather. Sponsored by
Celica Heating and Cooling.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
Giddy up! It's the Cardinal Cowboy. Is your garage door past its prime? Get a free repair or replacement quote from Renner Garage Door. Renner is America's oldest family-owned garage door company that serves both wholesale and retail markets. Right now, get $100 off a new garage door when you mention this ad. With trusted brands like Delden, Amar, LiftMaster, you know it's built to win. Renner's also hiring experienced techs and installers. RennerDoorSTL.com. Forward and back.
RENNER, RENNER.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep, Graybar does that.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is now 7:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Megan Lynch and Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's an easygoing morning out there on the highways, Debbie and Megan. If you're heading out the door right now, you don't have any concerns. We're 20 minutes away from the peak of the rush hour normally, but right now you wouldn't know it. Northbound 55 is a good run coming up from Festus all the way up through into the city limits. No delays there. If you're on northbound 270 from 55 headed up through 44, 270 around Ladue, everything's still rolling along. Eastbound 70 looks good. Coming in from out west in Warrenton, all the way in through across the Blanchette Bridge. 64 across the Boone Bridge is easy going. Southbound 61, still no backups there. And on the Illinois side, there's a little bit of a slowdown now. Westbound 64 passing 159, but once you get past that point, it opens up and runs across the Poplars. Still brief delays, Route 3 at 8th Street and Route 3 in the Granite City area like Bissell and up closer to 270 in those roadwork zones. There's just some slow traffic moving through there right now. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And it looks like we could have some rain, some thunderstorms later on today. The rest of the day for today, clouds and sun will mix. Breezy, very warm with a high of 85 degrees. We could see some severe storms later on tonight with winds, hail, flash flooding, possibly even a risk of tornadoes. It'll be cooler with a low of 50. And then tomorrow, a couple showers early, otherwise windy and cool. We should see some sunshine in the afternoon. Expect a high tomorrow, just 59 degrees. We have cloudy skies now, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 7:22. The 8th annual Race for Refugees is this Saturday in Tower Grove Park.
It's raised over $60,000 for the International Institute. So it's become a very important event to engage our community, both native and foreign-born in St. Louis, and also raised money for critical programs that support new Americans that arrive.
Samson Hillary with the International Institute says while things have been tough in the immigrant and refugee space lately, they see more support than ever from people wanting to make those new to St. Louis feel welcome. It's a 5K run or 1 mile walk, the Race for Refugees, and you can sign up day of. Just head to the Sons of Rest Pavilion tomorrow near South Grand and Arsenal.
Efforts to save historic Quinn Chapel in the Carondelet neighborhood continue as the city aims to tear it down. Debbie Monterrey got more from Katie Graby, a preservation specialist with the Landmark Association of St. Louis.
The Quinn Chapel is a small AME church in Carondelet, built in the 1860s by the city of Carondelet, originally as like a public market, and then the church got it in the 1880s. And so it has been owned by the AME since that time.
And what has happened to it?
There was a fire in 2025, which impacted the interior, burning it all out. So it's now deemed structurally unsound. The city's plan was to demolish it and the building to the north of it.
I understand there's been quite a concerted effort in the neighborhood to try and save this. What's being done?
Currently, they were trying to return the building to the tax rolls to kind of enforce some of the code violations of cleaning up the property, making it safe, because it has been kind of left abandoned for a while. And since the fire happened, the city is now trying to kind of enforce a security for it. So people can no longer enter it or do anything in or around it. Some neighbors are very concerned due to that issue. And right now, the AME under Reverend Edmund Lowe is really trying to get involved to bring it back. Their goal is to fix the building up and then, kind of decide what they can do with it from there. But they would like to preserve it and not have it demolished.
So Saturday from 9 to 1 is the Quinn Chapel cleanup, and it's billed as Let's Prevent Demolition. What is that all about?
So our goal right now is to show the city that there is a concerted effort going towards the building, and we're going to try and do kind of some light cleanup around it. That'll include some trash removal and some vegetative debris, getting that kind of out of the way, showing some cleanup, and just showing that some progress is going towards the building and to kind of help stay off demolition. And then some next steps will be to put up some fencing and, work through the progress from there.
How many folks do you need to help clean up?
The more people we have, the quicker it'll go. Some light mowing, some branch removals and things like that. And so the more hands, the quicker we can move things.
Some people might say, well, this is an eyesore and it's half falling down. So what is the historic significance of this building to bring it back?
It was nominated individually in 1974 and then included in the Carondelet expansion for a district. It's important because, one, it was one of the few buildings left originally constructed by the independent city of Carondelet. So before Carondelet was part of the city of St. Louis. And it also has just been as like a worship center for a Black congregation for a very, very, very long time. And I think that they want to shine a light back on it and show kind of the importance of that area. I mean, we've seen other buildings with just a facade get brought back. So this still has 4 walls. We just need to get it fixed up.
That's Katie Graby with the Landmarks Association.
Also going on tomorrow, an historic baseball game at Jefferson Barracks will mark the start of the sports revival.
This is the kind of the second year that we've had historic baseball back in Jefferson Barracks. But then they also have some away games over in Forest Park as well.
The St. Louis Brown Stockings will make their debut at the season opener at 11. They'll play 2 of 3 ball games, which will feature players abiding by the 1860s rules, including no gloves, no sliding, and vintage outfits.
Museum educator with St. Louis County Parks and Recreation, Jeffrey Edison, says the region used to be home to a historic baseball team in the early 2000s, but the sport was only revived 2 years ago. He says this weekend's retro game is one of only 3 home games in the 2026 season.
It's 7:27 and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Spring weekend means open houses, and people will be in and out of homes for sale, or maybe not. Maybe you have a home to sell, and that's not the way you want to go, having your house open or being at, the beck and call of a realtor who's like, okay, people are coming by now, get out of the house. Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty has other ways to sell your home. She's got a lot of different ways. So talk it over with her and see what works for you. She can get you instant cash offers. She can do a whole lot of things. If you're not done building the house you're moving into, she has a way for you to sell your home but stay in it until you're ready to move. I'm telling you, Gloria's got the solutions and Gloria has the buyers. Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty will guarantee in writing that she'll sell your home at the price and time frame you both agree upon, or she'll buy it herself. In fact, Gloria will sell your home at 100% of market value, or she'll pay you the difference. Give her a call at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. You can find her online right now at gloriahasthebuyers.com.
Looking to build your dream home? Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. And for a limited time this April, we're offering something we rarely do. Exclusive incentives designed to help you get more from your new home. From a free finished recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades to flexible perks like design credits or closing cost savings, there's an opportunity waiting for you. But these offers are available in select communities and only for a short time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are discussing esophageal cancer with Dr. Raymond Jin.
Curative, that's a complex decision that involves what we call multidisciplinary care. So that involves a surgeon, a medical oncologist, radiation oncologist. So you need the expertise, and that's something that we have here at Siteman, especially geared for these esophageal cancer patients.
Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. Visit siteman.washu.edu.
Dell PCs with Intel inside are built for the moments you plan and the ones you don't. For the time you forgot your charger at the gate.
Passengers, we are now on our initial ascent.
Or when you're bouncing between projects like a ping pong ball. We build PCs with long-lasting battery life, so you're not scrambling for an outlet. And built-in intelligence, so you can stay focused on whatever you're doing. Dell Technologies, built for you. Dell.com/Dell PCs.
At 7:30, we have cloudy skies, 62 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch.
I'm Debbie Monterrey, and this is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the highways are getting a little more volume on them now, so we're starting to see a couple more slowdowns, but still really doesn't look all that bad. I mean, northbound 55 just barely slow. Weber up to River to Pear. If you're traveling on northbound 270, a little busy right through gravel. It is slow up the hill from Doherty Ferry to Manchester. A brief slowdown at 64, not that bad there. Eastbound 70 and 64 coming in from out Wentzville way, and southbound 61, they all look great coming across the Missouri River bridges. And eastbound 64, the only slowdown really is a little heavy now from 170 to about Big Bend, but then it sorts itself out. On the downtown run is still okay. It's just a little slow westbound 64 passing 159, but after that, it's a good run across the Poplar or Musial Veterans bridges. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We'll start out with a mix of clouds and sun today. Breezy, very warm this afternoon with a high of 85. We're going to have a chance of thunderstorms coming up as we head into this evening. Overnight, though, it'll be cooler with a low of 50. And then tomorrow, a couple showers around early, otherwise windy and cool with clouds giving way to sunshine. Tomorrow afternoon, a high of 59. We have 64 degrees in Florissant and St. Peter's, 62 degrees now downtown at the Arch.
We have a big water main break in North St. Louis. A portion of Cass Avenue is closed because of it. It's a 30-inch main that burst at 8th and Dickens Street in the Columbus Square neighborhood overnight. Crews are currently working to fix that break and turn the water off. Nearby streets appear to be flooded.
Officials are inviting the public to help escort fallen Wentzville fire captain home. Known for saving a boy in a frozen St. Louis lake in 2015, firefighter Tommy Shine died late Sunday after suffering cardiac arrest. A transfer of Shine's body will take place in Wentzville today around 5 p.m. The Wentzville Fire Protection District is inviting the public to line the sidewalks during the transfer along Highway A from Highway 61 to Pittman Funeral Home. Shine's funeral service has been scheduled for next Thursday.
Governor Mike Kehoe is hoping there's a path towards conciliation between St. Louis City and his state-appointed police board.
I think there's always a compromise.
Kehoe says he believes there is a way to pay St. Louis officers what they deserve and allow the city to operate. Kehoe also encouraged city leaders to stop scaring people by saying there will be layoffs.
There's a lot of decisions you can make in a budget, but the one that really tugs at people's heartstrings is saying, if we do this, then I have to lay somebody off. There's always an opportunity that could be the unfortunate reality, but I would suggest there's probably a lot of other areas that they can look at before that action has to be taken.
Kehoe says budgets are about priorities and the city needs to prioritize public safety. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
A judge rules St. Louis County Executive Sam Page can travel to London next week and still run the county from across the Atlantic.
The county council had argued a county ordinance required Power to shift to council chair Britta Days the moment Page left U.S. soil. A judge blocked that. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young says modern technology was central to the reasoning.
For example, if Sam Page hypothetically had to appear for a meeting, he could do so via Zoom, whether he's in St. Louis County or whether he's in London, and that would not prevent him from exercising his duties.
He is planning on being on that inaugural British Airways flight from Lambert to Heathrow. A preliminary injunction hearing is set for April 28th, where a judge will decide whether the order on the transfer of power becomes permanent. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. At 7:34, your Bloomberg Money Minute is coming up.
Neovitin began with one doctor's mission to help others feel their best. After years of caring for patients, Dr. Ken Ribicki, a St. Louis physician, created Neovitin, a line of multivitamins designed with quality, safety, and everyday wellness in mind. Each formula is made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients to support real people living real lives. Discover the difference today with Neovitin, available at Schnucks, Dierbergs, and neovitin.com. Neovitin, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game. Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug! Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down. Hey! Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
It is 7:35, and your money report is sponsored for you this hour by Busey Bank.
Another month, another record high median home price. How long can this go on? I'm Jeff Colvin of Fortune Magazine with the Fortune Business Update. The median existing home sales price last month was about $409,000, a new record. We've now had a new record every month for almost 3 years. Everyone seems to agree that the problem is too few homes for sale. But that explanation doesn't fully hold up. In February, the most recent data, there were way more sellers than buyers in the U.S. The gap was the biggest in at least 13 years, according to the records of the real estate firm Redfin. It should be a buyer's market, but it isn't. The explanation seems to be that sellers are pricing their homes way above the market, so says the principal economist at the National Association of Realtors. Something's got to give, but no one wants to predict when. I'm Jeff Colvin.
What matters to you matters to us. That's why Busey Bank takes the time to understand your goals and build solutions that fit your story. From everyday banking to long-term planning, our team is here to help you navigate every stage with care and expertise. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbor, your advisor, and your advocate. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
2026, I've been hearing from customers and friends that their utility bills went up quite a bit for the electric bill. That being said, and you're looking at buying a new air conditioner, or you're thinking, hey, I guess let's just get an air conditioner so it helps with the electric bills. If you have an old system, it definitely can help you. But watch your thinking. Just because you are told this is a so-called high-efficient air conditioner, it's not going to save you nowhere near what you think it's going to save you. Just replacing your old equipment is the biggest thing, and make your house efficient. An air conditioner is not going to make your house efficient. That being said, it's a great time to purchase an air conditioner if you get the correct one. Don't overspend. Don't believe the hype. In other words, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Call me, Bart Inman, at 314, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
Breaking news for your home. Wayday. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home. Like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Wayday long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Wayday. Shop Wayfair's Wayday from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to rbastl.com.
Get inside your Redbirds in the 2026 season every Tuesday at noon. It's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol on your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
It is 7:40. Let's see how things are rolling on the roads this morning. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, it's a little bit busier, but still not a bad run out there this morning, Megan. If you're heading out on the highways right now, here's what you can expect. This traffic reports the service of S&L Coins. Slow traffic on northbound 55 from about Bayless up through Holly Hills. Northbound 270, a slowdown. Tesson Ferry through Sappington, briefly past Gravois. Big Bend to Manchester, and then just a little slow at 64. South 270, south of Olive down to Ladue, just kind of bogged down there. Southbound 61 looks great, getting on to eastbound 64 or 70 coming out of Wentzville. There are no issues across the Missouri River bridges, although eastbound 64 is slow. Clarkson to Timberlake, and again approaching 170 to about Big Bend. South 170, about Brentwood Boulevard down to 64 is heavy. Westbound 64 at Big Bend, I'm just seeing a little bit of a slowdown there. And on the Illinois side, just a little bit of a slowdown westbound on 64 through 159. But again, it's still smooth sailing once you get past that point across the Poplar or Muswell Veterans Bridges. Next update at 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
It is 7:41 and time for us to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. And looking out the windows right now, it's a beautiful morning, Joe. Blue skies, sunshine, a nice little breeze.
It's the proverbial calm before the storm, Debbie. Unfortunately, the weather, in all seriousness, is going to get quite serious tonight. Today, clouds and sun, a warm breeze kicks in. We'll get to 85, and there could be a pop-up thunderstorm from late morning on, especially from the city on east. It's tonight that things get real serious as the front approaches. The environment is really ripe for some severe thunderstorms. Those could include destructive winds, unfortunately, hail, a risk of tornadoes, and yes, flash flooding. That'll devolve to just some rain late tonight as it turns much cooler behind the front, low 50. Tomorrow may start with a shower or two, mostly for Metro East. Then the clouds break for sun, but it's going to be a windy, much cooler day, only 59 degrees. Now we rebound some on Sunday with sunshine, the high 69. And then it warms up early next week with sunshine. Monday we'll get to 75, partly sunny Tuesday, highs in the low 80s. Right now it's 65 at St. Peter's, 64 in Florissant, partly sunny, 65 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Cards start a series tonight in Houston, and I'll let you hear about a game 16 years ago at Busch Stadium and what was special about that one.
More news now, 7:42. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. at a House committee budget hearing for next year faced multiple challenges from Democrats who oppose his policies and reductions planned for 2027. The administration's budget provides for $111 billion in discretionary spending, a cut of almost $16 billion from last year. CBS's Torian Small says Republicans may also challenge the budget plan when Kennedy appears next week before a Senate committee.
What we'll be watching is the response to some Republicans who have been pretty critical of his time as the Health and Human Services Secretary. Since his confirmation, there were quite a few Republicans like Senator Bill Cassidy, who is also a doctor, who had some reservations about confirming him initially. And after he did, he's gone on to say that he's been quite concerned with some of the decisions and changes that he's made.
Investors lifted the stock market further into record territory.
Stocks pulled a U-turn into the green lane after President Trump announced a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, propelling the S&P 500 and NASDAQ to all-time highs for the second straight day. Investors shrugged off a solid gain in oil prices. The Dow rose 115 points to 48,578. The NASDAQ gained 86 points to 24,102. The S&P advanced higher by 18 points to 70.41. Mortgage rates declined to the lowest level in 4 weeks, with Freddie Mac reporting that the 30-year fixed rate dropped 7 basis points to 6.3%. Jason Brooks, CBS News.
The Artemis II crew returned to Earth April 10th, splashing down off the California coast. They're now undergoing reconditioning, evaluations, and debriefs in Houston after their mission to fly around the moon. The 4 astronauts speaking about their historic flight at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. NASA astronaut Victor Glover talking about how it felt during re-entry.
I've never been base jumping. I've never been skydiving. But if you dove off a skyscraper backwards, that's what it felt like for 5 seconds. And then the mains, the pilots and the mains came out, and it was glorious.
The Titanic exhibit at the Volo Museum mysteriously flooded during a rainstorm on the anniversary of the sinking of the ship. This is in Northern Illinois. We'll bring you that report after sports coming up.
Well, tonight the Cardinals will start a series in Houston, also the start of a 6-game road trip. Kyle Leahy makes the start for the Redbirds. He is 1-2. The Cardinals are 10-8 and just 1/2 game back of the Pirates and the Reds in the National League Central. First pitch tonight is 7:10 in Houston. Ameren Total Access pregame show is 6:15. 16 years ago today at Busch Stadium, a game of a much different kind comes to an end.
And the ball game is over. The Mets win it in 20 innings by the score of 2-1 in 6 hours, 53 minutes.
20 innings, 6 hours, 53 minutes. The Cards lost to the Mets. That was Kenny Albert with the final call on Fox. The two teams used 19 pitchers, 10 by the Cardinals, and Joe Mather, not a pitcher, took the loss as he pitched the final 2 innings of the game. He entered as a pinch hitter. He played third and center field in the game. Cardinals pitcher Kyle Loesch finished the game in left field, and Yadier Molina caught all 20 innings behind the plate, that is. The Blues grabbed their 4th straight win of a run last night as they closed out the regular season in Utah. They win it 5-3. Robert Thomas picks up a hat trick. It's his 2nd in 11 days. He finishes the year with 25 goals. Pavel Buchnevich added a goal, and he finishes the campaign with 20 for the Blues. And it's been a busy last week for St. Louis City. They were in New York last week, a 1-1 draw in MLS play. They get a U.S. Open Cup win on Wednesday in St. Louis. Tomorrow they are in Seattle to face the Sounders. Jen Cease has more.
St. Louis City SC is back on the road this weekend, heading to the West Coast to face the Seattle Sounders in MLS play. City comes in unbeaten in their last 3 league matches and fresh off a 4-0 win in U.S. Open Cup action. But Seattle has been a difficult matchup, especially on the road. Head coach Juan Demay says the group has grown since their last meeting earlier this season.
It's very difficult to go into the game this weekend and look solely at our performance against them like 4 or 5 weeks ago. It feels like it was months ago, to be honest. So that's how much we've played since then, and that's how much we've improved, I think, as well.
Seattle enters the match coming off a frustrating midweek result, winning their second leg in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, but falling short on aggregate to miss out on the semifinals. Demay says the focus is now on recent form and building a clear plan for a different kind of challenge at Lumen Field on Saturday. With the City Spotlight, I'm Jen Cease, KMOX Sports.
Kickoff is 8:30 Central Time tomorrow on our sister station, Y98. More soccer. This of the indoor variety. The Ambush are home tonight to start the semifinal round of the MASL Ron Newman Cup playoffs. They'll face San Diego in game 1 of the series. Kickoff is set for 7:05 tonight at the Family Arena. It's the Cardinals and Astros tonight, 6:15 pregame show. I'm Joe Pott on your home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
If you need a garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of your choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Soar with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in Rachmaninoff's Third. Taking Flight. Assistant conductor Samuel Hollister and pianist Gabriela Montero make their SLSO classical subscription debut in Prokofiev's thrilling Third Piano Concerto. Enjoy Gabriela Smith's sky-inspired Tumblebird Contrails, Rachmaninoff's Third Symphony, April 24th and 25th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
If you're getting close to retirement, or maybe you're just thinking about retirement more in general, you're probably thinking about when can you retire? Will you have enough money to live on? You know, we all have retirement questions that, let's be honest, they're overwhelming and just can stress us out. But Steve All can help answer those questions so that you'll feel more confident about this next phase of your life. Check out his show, The All Financial Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 and Sunday evenings at 6. Here on KMOX.
Each year in St. Louis, 10 women are recognized for volunteer leadership that changes lives. They support families, strengthen communities, and create opportunities where they're needed most. Join us Tuesday, May 19th at the Ritz-Carlton for the 2026 Women of Achievement Awards Luncheon. Celebrate their impact and be part of a tradition more than 70 years strong. Reservations available at WOASTL.org. For more information, go to KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 7:50, and it's time for us to check in with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Are things heating up?
It's a little bit busier, but it's still not bad considering it's a Friday morning, Debbie. If you're on northbound 55, just a touch of a slowdown at Bayless and right around Holly Hills. North 270 a little slow just north of Gravois with that merge on traffic, and then Big Bend up through about Clayton Road and then through 64 to Ladue. Just a couple other slowdowns there. South 270 Olive down to Ladue as you enter that work zone, a little busy. Eastbound 70 starting to see some slow traffic between Cave Springs and Zumbel. So if you're on South 270, the ramps at 70, those right lanes are a little heavy. If you're on southbound 170, you've got heavy traffic from Brentwood to 64. Eastbound 64 out west is fine. Just a little slowdown passing Clarkson, and then right at the inner belt, westbound 64, longer delays. But again, just a slowdown from about the Science Center all the way out to Hanley, and westbound 64, just a little heavy spot right at 159 in Fairview Heights. Otherwise, you look good headed into the city from there. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Oh, it looks like we could have some thunderstorms later on today. Most of the day, we'll have a mix of clouds and sun. It'll be breezy and warm this afternoon with a high of 85. And those thunderstorms could be heavy with hail, flash flooding, even a tornado possible tonight. Overnight, it looks like it's going to be cooler with a low of 50. Right now, we have partly sunny skies, 62 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
It is 7:52, and the news continues. As we mentioned before sports, there is a Titanic exhibit at the Volo Museum in Northern Illinois that mysteriously flooded during a rainstorm on the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. We get more from Mike Krauser.
Video posted on social media shows the floodwater inside the museum.
On the anniversary of when the Titanic sank, our Titanic Museum flooded again.
The museum's marketing director, Jim Wydilla, says it's freaky. In the 40 years the building has been there, it's only flooded twice. The first time, 3 years ago, when the Titanic exhibit opened, water came from under a 1912 Renault concept car, one of only two made. The other was on the ship.
That went down with the Titanic. We have the only other one in the world. So it's this really cool piece that was also when Jack and Rose they are running around in the bottom of the ship and they make out in the car. That's the car. That's the 1912 Renault. So it's a really cool piece that we started the museum with.
There was rain during both flooding events, but Wydilla says there's no obvious place where the water came in. Mike Krauser, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
The Missouri governor's push to eliminate the state income tax means other taxes would have to go up. And in a late-night session in Jefferson City this week, Senate Republicans pushed through a new plan that would allow expanded sales taxes that could be placed on any goods and any services. The bill was introduced at 11:30 at night and passed about an hour later, but not without dissent from all Senate Democrats and a handful of Republicans.
Assuming legislation is approved in a final House vote, Missouri voters will be asked in November whether to eliminate the state income tax, which makes up about 2/3 of state revenue. Critics say this is not a tax cut, but a tax shift, and say it will benefit the wealthy while shifting the burden to working class and poor Missourians.
The Commodity Futures Trading Commission seeing its workload explode as it takes on cryptocurrency and prediction markets, but the agency is currently operating with significant staffing gaps. Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski questioned Chairman Michael Seelig on how the lack of filled commissioner seats is impacting the agency's ability to maintain oversight.
How challenging is that to not have other colleagues, other commissioners, when you're taking on more and more responsibility there at the CFTC?
Well, as I mentioned, the way that we're addressing this is by making sure that we go through the Administrative Procedure Act rulemaking process and we take a wide range of industry comment, and we will continue to do so on major policy changes.
The Metro East lawmaker noted that the CFTC is one of several independent agencies currently facing legal and operational challenges due to vacant leadership roles.
A new bill would allocate additional state funding to clean up abandoned landfills. University of Missouri Engineering School Dean Marissa Chrysico says abandoned landfills are difficult to clean up because there is no one legally responsible for them. This means cleanups need to start with costly planning and testing before anything is physically changed.
What I have seen from my experience from other states, the ones that make the most progress the fastest are the ones that have recurring funds.
The money for the cleanup would come from the Department of Natural Resources annual revenue.
New information coming about a complete closure of 6440.
If you're interested in learning more about Highway 64 construction scheduled in 2027, you may want to attend a MoDOT meeting on April 30th between 4 and 7 p.m. at 18 Rails in City Foundry. During that meeting, they're going to discuss a roughly year-long closure of eastbound 64 between Vanderventor and Compton to remove and replace that eastbound overpass, as well as rehabilitate the westbound side in the area. Roger Brand, KMOX News.
The Arch grounds are going to the dogs. Tomorrow is the annual Arch Bark, put on by the Gateway Arch Park Foundation, presented by Purina. The free family-friendly event draws hundreds of dogs and families for the community dog walk, Purina Incredible Dog Team Performance, dog fashion show, and more. There's a DJ, vendor booths, games for people and dogs, and food trucks. The event runs from 10 to 2 tomorrow.
It's now 7:56.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
At Uline,
They know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Ready to hit a home run with your backyard? Call Artistic Decks. We're celebrating 25 years of A-plus service with massive rollback pricing. Get a professional custom-built deck for less. Hit it out of the park with Artistic Decks. Call 314-280-0821 today.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Let's see how things are moving on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's not bad, Megan. Just a little slow on northbound 55 right now. River to Pear up through Holly Hills. Northbound 270, a little slow down north of Gravois, right around Doherty Ferry. Manchester up to Ladue, a little heavier through there after that. Southbound 270 approaching Olive down to Ladue is busy. Eastbound 64, looks like we have an incident, stall or a crash at Clarkson. It's a jam at Chesterfield Parkway West. After that, slow 170 to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Big Bend's heavy. And South 170 is stop and go from the Parkway to 64. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Friday, April 17th. I'm Debbie Monterrey, and this weekend's Missouri Book Festival isn't just about reading. We'll get more from a Midwest children's author who can teach you how to write your own book.
I'm Megan Lynch. The historic Quinn Chapel could be torn down by the city. We'll learn more about a Saturday morning cleanup that neighbors and preservation groups hope will save it.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Intervals of clouds and sun today with a thunderstorm around from late morning on, our high reaching 85.
In CBS News, Hezbollah says its finger is on the trigger in case Israel violates its new truce with Lebanon. CBS News is next at the tone. It's 8 o'clock.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Despite warnings to stay away, Lebanese civilians are heading home as a 10-day truce between Israel and Hezbollah begins. The BBC's Karine Torbay is there.
They told us they're really happy and relieved that basically there is this kind of a halt in the bombardment, a ceasefire. But there is very cautious optimism when it comes to how long can this ceasefire last.
Hezbollah says has its finger on the trigger in case Israel violates the terms. U.S.-Iran negotiations could resume this weekend. In Washington, a House member raising suspicions about another member of Congress and claims of sexual misconduct. Republican Anna Paulina Luna tells CBS News she's asked Senate leaders to look at potential allegations against Arizona's Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego. CBS's Nicole Killian's on Capitol Hill.
Congresswoman Luna says she has been in touch with Leader Thune's office. He told us the matter has been referred to the Senate Ethics Committee, but a spokesperson for Senator Gallego says he has not been notified or contacted by the panel.
Gallego flatly denies any wrongdoing. This week, Democrat Eric Swalwell and Republican Tony Gonzalez both resigned over alleged sexual misconduct. Workers in Sheboygan, Michigan are racing to shore up a dam after weeks of rain added to snowmelt there. Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Crews have been working incredibly hard to put down sandbags, place pumps, remove gates, restart the turbine, and increase the flow of water around and through the dam.
That dam was built in 1922. No matter where you live, Whitmer says it's another sign the country's 100-year-old infrastructure isn't holding up. Ford is recalling 1.4 million F-150 pickups. WWJ's Jeff Gilbert has details from Detroit.
The 2015 through 17 F-150s have automatic transmissions that can unexpectedly downshift. At least one crash and 2 injuries have been reported, along with 444 warranty claims. Ford says an electrical connection can wear down over time, leading to signal loss from the transmission range sensor.
Former college defensive tackle allegedly posed as an NFL player for money. CBS's Michael Wallace.
Luther Davis won a national championship at Alabama in 2010.
Crimson Tide wins the national championship.
Federal prosecutors say Davis and his co-conspirator C.J. Evans wore wigs and makeup to impersonate 3 NFL players.
All to get fraudulent loans. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here?
How is this possible? Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why? It's time for 60.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 65 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Friday, April 17th. I'm Megan Lynch. A portion of Cass Avenue closed after a water main break in North St. Louis. It happened on a 30-inch main. It's located at 8th and Dickens Street in the Columbus Square neighborhood. Crews currently working to fix the break and turn the water off by nearby streets appear to be flooded. Officials are inviting the public to help escort a fallen Wentzville fire captain home. Known for saving a boy in a frozen St. Louis lake in 2015, firefighter Tommy Shine died late Sunday after suffering from cardiac arrest. A dignified transfer of Shine's body will take place in Wentzville today around 5 p.m. The Wentzville Fire Protection District is inviting the public to line the sidewalks during the transfer along Highway A from Highway 61 to Pittman Funeral Home. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe calling the lawsuit from Mayor Kara Spencer against the Board of Police Commissioners a shame and says he hopes there's a compromise that can be found on the budget. Kehoe says budgets are a reflection of priorities and public safety should be at the top.
They want safer community. They want safer streets. Businesses want to be able to operate for their employees and their customers. So public safety is something that you have to prioritize. And when you do, I think communities flourish.
Kehoe adds city leaders should stop scaring people by saying there will be layoffs if too much funding is given to the police department. He says other things could be cut first. Ahead of the mayor's State of the City address that's set to take place today at 6, what does former St. Louisan turned Governor Mike Kehoe believe the state of the city is?
There's a lot of opportunities happening in St. Louis.
Governor Kehoe says he believes the city is in a good spot. However, has the fight over the St. Louis City police budget changed how he views the job Mayor Kara Spencer is doing?
For the most part, Mayor Spencer, I think, has done a good job dealing with things she didn't expect, the tornado and some other things. We'll work through this, and I'll be happy to help her any way we can to try to get to the right spot.
Kehoe says, like with all relationships, you aren't always going to agree with everyone all the time. He adds he wants to hear her plan for the city's economy in her speech. Mayor Spencer's State of the City address will begin at 6. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
You can watch a live stream of the address at the City of St. Louis, Missouri YouTube page. Kara Spencer ran for office on getting back to basics, delivering city services more effectively. Tonight, expect her to lay out how the state's increased demands for the police department could impact filling potholes and emptying dumpsters.
It's my hope that through the lawsuit that we filed last week, we can end the state takeover of our police department and really reintroduce our police department back into city government where it belongs.
Mayor Spencer has said she supports rank and file police officers, and initially she held back on a lawsuit challenging the state takeover. It's Destination London for St. Louis County Executive Sam Page.
A judge rules he cannot be stripped of his elected power if he leads a trade delegation to Europe next week. The county council had argued an ordinance required them to transfer power to council chair Rita Days the moment the Page left. A judge disagreed. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young says the judge applied a standard that Americans have seen play out at the highest levels of the federal government.
We've all seen instances at the presidential level where if the president is under anesthesia, the powers of the president temporarily go to the vice president. What Judge Ott did, although not using those words, she essentially found the same thing with regard to the statute or the ordinance in St. Louis County.
The judge applied that same reasoning locally, ruling that Page has to physically be unable to govern before losing his power, not just be out of the country. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Missouri now has a full-time National Weather Service meteorologist stationed at the State Emergency Operations Center in Jefferson City. Public Safety Director Mark James says the arrangement is a step up from what the state had before.
The Weather Service meteorologists, they would drive down from Kansas City or St. Louis or whatever and stay however long needed. So the National Weather Service just decided to permanently assign our own meteorologist to us.
That new liaison is Brandon Dunston, a Weather Service meteorologist and emergency management specialist. Missouri joins Texas and Kansas in having a dedicated state weather liaison. The service comes at no cost to the state. From the KMOX Business Desk, tomorrow's the 23rd Annual Home Repair Blitz, when volunteers from the IBEW NECA electrical connection fan out around the area to do free electrical upgrades. This year, homeowners will benefit. Those electricians will fix wires, overtaxed circuits, improperly installed electrical panels. They'll also install new lights, ceiling fans, and other fixtures. Over the past 23 years, the union electricians have donated services to more than 620 homes through their nonprofit, Rebuilding Together. It's now 8:08, traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Breaking news for your home. Way Day. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home, like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Way Day long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Way Day. Shop Wayfair's Way Day from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 8:10. Let's see how things are moving on the roads with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I can see the trouble now, Megan, on eastbound 64. I mentioned at the top of the hour, either a crash or a stall. It turns out it's a crash. It's in the left lane, eastbound 64, just immediately east of Clarkson. Since we're starting to wind down the rush hour, it's backup's not bad. It's only jammed to Chesterfield Parkway West so far. But again, the left lane is blocked there. Northbound 270 approaching Doherty Ferry to Manchester, slow. Clayton Road up to Ladue, busy. South 270 south of Olive to Ladue, that's a little bit slow as well. Coming in on eastbound 70 is a great run from Warrenton all the way in. Eastbound 64, you do have a backup from McKnight to Big Bend. South 170 delays in the Parkway. Westbound 64, McCausland out to Hanley, a couple of slow spots. Northbound 55, Loughborough up through Virginia is kind of heavy. We have a serious crash with injuries, lane blockage. Jeffco at Tenbrook, they requested an additional ambulance there just a couple of minutes ago. On the Illinois side, the little delay we had westbound 64 through 159 has thinned out. Eastbound 64, there's some roadwork going on past Barack Obama Avenue and northbound Route 3, a little backup at 8th Street. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Intervals of clouds and sun today. It'll become breezy and very warm this afternoon. Watch out for a thunderstorm, though, from late morning on, high 85. Breezy for a while tonight with a couple of heavy thunderstorms rolling through that can produce destructive winds, hail, flooding downpours, and even a tornado. It'll change to some rain late tonight as it turns much cooler, low 50. A couple of showers early tomorrow, then clouds give way to sunshine later tomorrow. A windy, much chillier day, high only 59. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We've got some more sunshine now this morning. 67 in St. Louis, 68 in Florissant, also 68 degrees in St. Peters. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Our next guest has worked with everyone from elementary school students to federal inmates and taught them how to start writing a story that could someday be a book. Kate Kleiss is an award-winning author of more than 30 books for young readers. She's a Midwest native and will be the keynote speaker at this Saturday's Missouri Book Festival. Welcome to KMOX, Kate.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
How many authors actually teach other people how to write a book?
You know what? It's not uncommon. It's something we would much rather talk about writing than actually write ourselves. So I like talking about it. You know, you mentioned the federal inmates. I took that gig. It was a volunteer thing, and someone asked me, and I didn't know how to get out of it, so I did it. And I thought, well, you know what? These guys are going to have really interesting stories to tell. You don't get to federal prison without having at least one good story to tell. And what I realized in teaching them is that if you don't know the craft of writing, you can have a really good story to tell, but you'll end up telling it in sort of a this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and you don't give it that sort of narrative arc that we're used to, that we look for in a Netflix series. You know, we're used to a certain kind of rhythm in a story, and it's something that people can learn. So when I teach kids or federal inmates, I use kind of the same method.
I think your story is so interesting because you have had an evolution where you went from things like writing press releases to writing a column for the Post-Dispatch that was very personal in nature to really, you know, what you fell into with the children's books and working with your sister as an illustrator. How in the world did you go from writing a newspaper column to children's books?
Well, I was fired from the newspaper column. So that was sort of a big stop sign there. You know what? I wasn't really good at it. The idea of having to stick to the facts was not really my strong suit. I wasn't always happy with the quotes I was given. I'd rather make up dialogue for people. But on sort of a more somber note, when I was writing for People magazine, it was in the early days of school shootings. I covered Paducah and Jonesboro, and I thought, I cannot keep going to little kids' funerals. I can't do it. I mean, I could, and I think I brought some humanity to those stories, but I'm just like, I want to do something that makes the world a little more beautiful. And writing for kids is the best gig in town because they write to you, they tell you like, oh my gosh, Kate, you're not going to believe what happens at the end of your book. And I'm like, oh, really? And, you know, like the 9 and 10-year-olds, that's when those little bookworms, they're reading a book every 2 or 3 days. So it's a very fun place to be. And to be able to work with my sister, doing what we did as kids, I write the words, she draws the pictures, you know, it's super fun.
Where do you bring your inspiration from when you write children's books?
Get a lot of ideas from the newspaper, not the front page, you know, death and destruction, but those little stories on, you know, A7 about a cat who runs away and comes home 9 years later. You know, somebody who loses a wedding ring and then they find it, you know, in a sewer drain or something. I have 2 books that I'm going to be talking about at the Missouri Book Festival that are both Missouri stories. One of them about the Missouri giantess. Do you know the story of Ella Ewing? 8 feet 4 inches tall. This is the late 19th century when women didn't have the right to vote or do anything. She's out booking her own gigs, building her own house with her own money. So I wrote a book about her because I think she's super cool. And then I have another book about a stray cat, St. Louis stray cat, who in 1947 slipped into a fancy St. Louis hotel a couple days before a pedigreed cat show. And the hotel hostess, on a lark, decided to enter the cat in the contest, and he walked away with 2 blue ribbons. And the story made international headlines because this is 1947. And the world was like, this is why America is such a great country. You can be a stray cat and be a winner. So you can see those kind of stories in the paper and you think, I want to know more about this.
I think what's really unusual that you have coming up is that collaboration with Grammy-winning composer Stefan Freund. Tell us a little bit about that. And is that Mr. Silver Stole the Show that you were just talking about?
I'm so excited about it. To me, it's a perfect St. Louis story because, I mean, not to throw shade on St. Louis, but there was a lot of times when St. Louis kind of got it wrong. You know, a lot of big legal cases that St. Louis was like, whoops, kind of blew it. This is a case where St. Louis just totally nailed it. The stray cat slips in, he wins the award. So as I was writing it and Sarah was illustrating it, we're like, this story needs to have a bigger moment. And so the Metropolitan Orchestra of St. Louis commissioned Stefan Freund. So he wrote this original score that is so charming. The first time I heard it, I burst into tears at the end of it because the cat gets a forever home and it's very sweet. And my sister is turning the illustrations into a sort of it's not a movie, but it sort of has, there's a visual element to it. That's going to be Sunday, May 17th at the 560 Music Center.
You grew up in Peoria. You do have a home in Missouri. Obviously, you're very familiar with St. Louis. What do you think we bring as far as kind of this Midwest feeling to our writing here and the way we look at the world?
Well, I will tell you what, as a Midwestern writer, I bring to the publishing world. I had a publisher, I've done 35 books, and a publisher a few years ago said, Kate, it's so wild. You just never deliver your manuscripts late. You're just always on time. I just feel like Midwesterners, we just kind of do what needs to be done. And I feel those are the kind of stories I like to capture. Just hardworking people who kind of step in it now and then, but in the end, we do the right thing. I like big-hearted stories. I'm not afraid. I don't like sentimental, but I don't mind a very earnest story. And I like stories about outsiders. Mr. Silver the cat is an outsider. I like the Missouri Giantess was certainly an outsider. I like stories about outsiders who just kind of won't take no for an answer. Like, I won't let you keep me out of this.
Do you have a process to how you write, or do you just write whenever you want and let it flow? Or is it more like a job where you sit down at the same time every day and you go to work?
No, I don't. I'm like a farmer. I have seasons where it's just like, December, I just can't get anything done. I'm just thinking about Christmas and family and all that. I can sit down to write until I have something that is kind of burning that I want to write about. And then I write. They say write fast and hot. The guy who wrote Ian Fleming, who wrote the James Bond novels, he said, never spend more than 30 days on a first draft of a novel. So I try to do that. Even if I'm writing a longer book, I give myself 30 days to just knock it out and get something done. And then I spend a long time rewriting.
That's award-winning children's book author Kate Kleiss. You can get more of her tips. She's the keynote for this year's Missouri Book Festival. It's tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Washington Public Library in downtown Washington, Missouri.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Let's check the roads now. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we still have our trouble on eastbound 64 to east of Clarkson. This crash has the left lane blocked and eastbound 64 is jammed. Approaching Chesterfield Parkway West again, the jam isn't getting much worse since we're near the end of the rush hour. After that, eastbound 64, east of McKnight into Big Bend's heavy. South 170 just kind of slow at the U Club Tower. Westbound 64, Big Bend through Hanley. Still a little busy. Northbound 270, approaching Manchester, just a couple of spots where it's bogged down, headed up to the work zone at Ladue. Northbound 55, clear sailing from Festus all the way downtown. Downtown on the Illinois side, things continue to roll along. There's no delay right now anyway. On westbound 64 at 159 in Fairview Heights, they are still working with that serious crash. Jeffco Boulevard at 10 Brooks, so watch for any restrictions and minor delays there. The McKelvey Homes Spring Event is one of the best offers they've had in years. Rates as low as 4.75% and savings of up to $124,000 on move-in ready homes. The event ends May 31st. Schedule your tour today at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, there are, of course, a lot of storms predicted for the Midwest, and we're no exception. We could see some heavy thunderstorms tonight that could include winds, hail, flash flooding, even a tornado. We may see a couple of pop-ups later on today. Breezy and warm this afternoon, otherwise with a high of 85, a low tonight of 50. And then tomorrow, a couple of showers early, otherwise windy and cool, a high just 59. Right now, we have sunny skies, 67 degrees in downtown St. Louis.
St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories. Tom Ackerman for St. Louis Composting. I've been a customer for the last couple of years. We had mulch delivered to our home earlier this spring. It's already been spread. Now's the perfect time for that. The perfect time to refresh your entire landscape with a fresh layer of mulch in your flower beds and around your trees. It is the fastest way to make your yard pop with a beautiful, well-kept look. St. Louis Composting has 9 retail locations all over the area. I didn't realize that when I first started talking about them. 9 locations all over the area, so there's one close to you. But you know what we did? We had the mulch delivered. You can just go to stlcompost.com. You can pick out the type of mulch you want. You can use their material calculator to figure out how much soil or mulch your project requires, and then they'll bring it to your home. stlcompost.com. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's ruffgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
In case you missed it, Total Information AM is recapping some of the biggest stories of the week. It was a big collision at the intersection of politics and religion as President Trump and Pope Leo see different paths for the war in Iran. It begs the question, what will voters do?
You've got to realize there's over 1 billion Catholics on Earth, and very few political leaders in recent history have publicly denounced the Pope or criticized the Pope.
Ryan Burge is political scientist at Washington University's Danforth Center on Religion and Politics. Burge says the Catholic voting bloc is critical, pointing out 2/3 of white Catholics favor Donald Trump in 2024.
Voters I've spoken with and seen discussing it online are siding with the Pope on these issues. You got to remember in the 1960s, John Kennedy had to say, well, my allegiance will be to the American public, not the Pope. And now it's interesting that the whole thing's kind of being brought back up in a different way now, where a lot of Catholics will say, no, my faith's more important to me than my politics, which is not something that a lot of people have said the last few years. It seems like politics rules everything. It kind of swamps our religious viewpoint. But this is a time it seems like that's reversed for a lot of Catholics, and they're moving away from the Republican alliance and actually moving closer to their Catholic faith.
The Federal Reserve says uncertainty over the war in Iran is overshadowing other parts of the economy.
Conflict in the Middle East is cited as a major source of uncertainty, and it is impacting business and decision making.
Charles Gaskin, economist and assistant vice president at the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Gaskin says the cost of fuel, plastics, and metal continue to put manufacturers in a squeeze.
Input costs are still rising faster than prices that businesses are able to charge to households. And so that's still compressing profit margins.
Banks report more overdrafts and more consumers using credit. We always think of spring as the hot market for homes, but the National Association of Realtors says March figures were disappointing. Existing home sales dropped more than 3.5% from February, and there was a slight increase in unsold inventory. A local real estate advisor says we've hit a low watermark in home sales. Mark Gelman of the Gelman team tells KMOX nationwide trends show under 4 million home sales in the United States this year. Compare that to 2021 when nearly 7 million homes sold.
We're looking at almost 40-something% less homes sold last year versus, for example, 2021. And then, as I mentioned, this report is suggesting that they're pacing at under 4 million, which is a really, really low number.
The stress of all of this has shoppers looking for relief in a small, squishy toy, but they're not having much luck. Here's Odyssey's Rob Hart.
Nido, that's Needoh, has the consistency of a stress ball and comes in a variety of shapes and colors. TikTok made them famous, and now toy stores are having a hard time keeping Nidos in stock.
The demand is still there, but the supply seems to be dwindling.
If you're having a hard time finding a Nido, get in line. Flavia Palazzi, assistant shopkeeper at Timeless Toys in Lincoln Square, says stores are having a hard time as well.
Increasingly more difficult to find Nidos to keep in stock.
Palazzi says her store has limits on how many Nidos customers can buy.
People have asked to come in and point blank buy our entire stock.
It's 8:28. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelley Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
You know, here in St. Louis, word of mouth still matters, and I'm pretty careful about who I recommend, especially when it comes to something as personal as estate planning. I'm Tom Ackerman. My family has been working with the Lederman Law Firm for over 20 years now, and the reason is simple. They don't just create documents and send you on your way. They help make sure your plan works. Because let's be honest, life changes. Family needs and circumstances change. Laws change, but most estate plans don't change over time as needs, circumstances, and laws change. They're outdated, sitting in a drawer. People assume they're fine, and their plan will work when they need it to work. At the Lederman Law Firm, it's not a one-time transaction. It's an ongoing process. They build a plan to protect your family and your assets, and then for a fixed annual fee, they help keep it up to date as both your life and assets change. Check out the Lederman Law Firm at LedermanLaw.com or give them a call at 314-514-9100. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
And Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game. Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug! Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down. Hey! Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Here's something I run into a lot with younger homeowners, and happened to be with my little boy. He was looking at purchasing homes. This house had a 20-plus-year-old furnace and air conditioner. And, of course, my advice was never buy a house with that old of an air conditioner. You will be buying a new one. And he goes, well, how much does a new one cost? For his size home, told him figure tens of thousands to over $20,000. If you're looking at a house, my personal opinion is make sure it's a newer unit. If not, request buyers put in a newer unit. It makes it easier on your 15 or 30-year mortgage if it's included in the loan. Just my piece of advice for that. But if you're hearing this after the fact and you do need a new air conditioner, sorry to hear that, but call me, Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest of numbers. It is 314-293-2600 or bartinman.com. God bless.
8:31, time for another check of the roads with Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, they're clearing the crash, just pulling away right now. It looks like the left lane is now open, eastbound 64 at Clarkson. Again, it's jammed back to about Annie Guns on eastbound 64, but it'll probably open up pretty quickly now that that's out of your way. Eastbound 64 after that's just slow 170 to Big Bend, south 170 Souls at Brentwood Boulevard, north 270. Manchester, like midway up to Clayton Road's just kind of slow. Otherwise, the rest of the interstates look great. There's still just minor delays, but a short backup at Jeffco and Tenbrook. That's where we had a serious injury crash. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we're going to have a mix of clouds and sun today. We could see some thunderstorm in places from late morning on, especially heavy thunderstorms as we get into tonight. Much cooler later tonight with an overnight low of 40. We're expecting a high today of 85. Right now, we have partly sunny skies, 67 degrees downtown at the Arch. Efforts to save the historic Quinn Chapel in the Carondelet neighborhood continue as the city aims to tear it down. We get more from Katie Graby, a preservation specialist with the Landmarks Association of St. Louis. She spoke with our Debbie Monterrey.
The Quinn Chapel is a small AME church in Carondelet, built in the 1860s by the city of Carondelet, originally as like a public market, and then the church got it in the 1880s. And so it has been owned by the AME since that time.
And what has happened to it?
There was a fire in 2025, which impacted the interior, burning it all out. So it's now deemed structurally unsound. The city's plan was to demolish it and the building to the north of it.
I understand there's been quite a concerted effort in the neighborhood to try and save this. What's being done?
Currently, they were trying to return the building to the tax rolls to kind of enforce some of the code violations of cleaning up the property, making it safe, because it has been kind of left abandoned for a while. And since the fire happened, the city is now trying to kind of enforce a security for it. So people can no longer enter it or do anything in or around it. Some neighbors are very concerned due to that issue. And right now, the AME under Reverend Edmund Lowe is really trying to get involved to bring it back. Their goal is to fix the building up and then, kind of decide what they can do with it from there. But they would like to preserve it and not have it demolished.
So Saturday from 9 to 1 is the Quinn Chapel cleanup, and it's billed as Let's Prevent Demolition. What is that all about?
So our goal right now is to show the city that there is a concerted effort going towards the building, and we're going to try and do kind of some light cleanup around it. That'll include some trash removal and some vegetative debris, getting that kind of out of the way, showing some cleanup, and just showing that some progress is going towards the building and to kind of help stay off demolition. And then some next steps will be to put up some fencing and, work through the progress from there.
How many folks do you need to help clean up?
The more people we have, the quicker it'll go. Some light mowing, some branch removals and things like that. And so the more hands, the quicker we can move things.
Some people might say, well, this is an eyesore and it's half falling down. So what is the historic significance of this building to bring it back?
It was nominated individually in 1974 and then included in the Carondelet expansion for a district. It's important because, one, it was one of the few buildings left originally constructed by the independent city of Carondelet. So before Carondelet was part of the city of St. Louis. And it also has just been as like a worship center for a Black congregation for a very, very, very long time. And I think that they want to shine a light back on it and show kind of the importance of that area. I mean, we've seen other buildings with just a facade get brought back. So this still has 4 walls. We just need to get it fixed up.
And that is Katie Graby with the Landmarks Association. It's 8:36, your money report coming up.
Carpal tunnel syndrome,
heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
It's time for your money report now. Investors lifted the stock market further into record territory. CBS's Jason Brooks has those details.
Stocks pulled a U-turn into the green lane after President Trump announced a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, propelling the S&P 500 and NASDAQ to all-time highs for the second straight day. Investors shrugged off a solid gain in oil prices. The Dow rose 115 points to 48,578. The NASDAQ gained 86 points to 24,102. The S&P advanced higher by 18 points to 7041. Mortgage rates declined to the lowest level in 4 weeks, with Freddie Mac reporting that the 30-year fixed rate dropped 7 basis points to 6.3%. Jason Brooks, CBS News.
And your money report is sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
You voted, we listened. On Friday, April 24th, the Cardinals take on the Seattle Mariners, and Busch Stadium is going dark. That night, you will receive the all-new Cardinals jersey, Dark Mode, presented by Phillips 66. This fan-selected look was brought to life for the ballpark and designed to stand out in the stands. A limited giveaway you can only get at the game. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
This is Victor Scott II. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com.
The weekend starts here. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou with $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
The smartest way to do your homework is Hackman Lumber.
Thinking about building a new deck? Start with the deck experts at Hackman Lumber, home of one of the largest inventories of decking materials and accessories in Missouri. From treated lumber and cedar to all the leading names in decking, their experts will help you choose the perfect materials for your dream deck. Then finish it off with endless railing options, balusters, and LED deck lighting to bring your backyard to life. Hackman Lumber will not be undersold on in-stock decking materials, guaranteed. Do it yourself? Their team is ready with expert advice. Need help from a pro? They can connect you with trusted local contractors. Also, check out their expanding paint department with custom color matching. And don't forget, follow Hackman Lumber on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to catch weekly deal specials and project inspiration all season long. Or visit us at hackmanstl.com. Locations in St. Peters, Troy, and Pacific, Missouri.
The financial industry is getting rich on baby boomers. Don't be their next victim. Find out the truth of what's really going on in the retirement industry. Join Greg Ayler Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
8:40, time to update the road, see if things are winding down out there. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's not bad, Megan. Just a couple of slow spots on eastbound 64. It is kind of heavy east of Clarkson toward Timberlake. That's the volume unwinding from the crash when it was, the left lane was blocked at Clarkson before they cleared it. Eastbound 64 after that. 170 through to about Big Bend's kind of busy. North 270 still a little slow north of Manchester up toward the Clayton Road overpass. Still seeing minor delays. Jeffco at Tenbrook, where we had a serious injury crash down in Arnold. And don't forget, starting at 9 a.m. this morning, the Pittman Avenue, Lupton House Boulevard ramp to eastbound 64 and southbound 61 is going to close. Again, it's coming up in about 20 minutes, and that'll be through 5 a.m. tomorrow. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Time for the Friday edition of Hancock and Kelley.
You two belong together.
John Hancock, Michael Kelley on 104.1 FM, King of OX.
Happy, unbelievably gorgeous outside Friday, John Hancock.
I know. Gonna get some tough weather tonight, though, they say.
Yeah, but it should still blow out of here in time for a nice little weekend.
Agreed. And it is the weekend. The weekend officially starts for me the moment we step up to these microphones.
No doubt about it. Hey, pal, we have to talk about politics.
All right.
From a political consultant's perspective, because
that's what
I
we
think
do.
we have witnessed maybe the single biggest blunder of political consultants week, top to bottom.
You don't say.
Let's do.
Right.
So have you remember a couple of weeks ago, County Executive Sam Page took to the microphone and he said, look, we have serious financial troubles in St. Louis County. I'm canceling the 4th of July. I'm closing summer pools.
Wow.
I've got a lot of things that, and I, in the midst of being under indictment, are going to be focused on trying to right the ship of St. Louis County. You remember that conversation,
I do remember
right?
that, yeah.
So Sam Page this week goes to court because he is going to be leaving town for 4 days, and he was afraid that the county council would take over the county executive's role.
Because he's not present in
Right.
the county.
Now, do you want to know where Sam Page is going?
Where's he going, Michael?
He's going to London on a junket. What's happening is we've got a British Airways flight from St. Louis to London. Sam Page wants to go on this flight
nonstop
and spend 4 or 5 days over in London. Now, remember, just 2 weeks ago, he told us that it was so dire that he focused on St. Louis County, that's where he was going to put his entire energy, etc.
Why would you go to London for 4 days and turn around and come home?
Well, he wants to go on a junket. It's a free flight, and it's with all these St. Louis people, and they're going to celebrate the fact that we're getting a flight. And he says that he's going to do some economic deals. Now, do you imagine anybody doing an economic deal with a county executive that's going to be there less than 3 to 4 more months?
No.
So you just have to wonder politically. He spent thousands upon thousands of dollars with lawyers to go fight his own county council, something he says, hey, we've got real financial troubles in St. Louis County so that he can go on a junket.
Yeah.
Is this not the biggest head scratcher?
It's not good judgment. Of course, he's not running again, and he might be going to jail. So,
Yeah, right. And that continues
smoke him
to
if you
wear
got
on.
him.
Yeah.
But, he not good political judgment. Although he's going to London, you say?
Yeah, London.
So from London, and he's leaving what, next week?
I guess. I don't know, this week.
So you fly over there next week.
Uh-huh.
You get on the train.
Okay.
And you drive to Sheffield.
Sheffield to go see the
Crucible
snooker
Theater, because the Snooker World Championships start tomorrow.
Oh, my. Do you think that's what Sam Page could be doing? Would that be an excuse for you to excuse him for leaving when he canceled the 4th of July?
Well, maybe I could get on that flight. Wouldn't that be something?
I think it's just politically dumb, but as it relates to being politically dumb, he's made a lot of those decisions as of late.
Well, which is why he's not running for re-election.
Let's keep going, shall we,
Well,
on
there's
just
more, you
dumb
say.
political
There's
decisions. Last week, the city of St. Louis lost a police officer in the line of duty.
Yeah, very, very sad.
He was laid to rest last week, and Governor Kehoe was there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea who might not have been there?
I don't know, the mayor.
The mayor of the city of St. Louis was unable to make it to a funeral of a fallen active duty police officer. Do you want to know where she was?
At home?
No, she wasn't visiting one of her own relatives in the hospital. She hadn't lost anything personal. No, she went to Harvard for a Michael Bloomberg symposium on leadership. Where, in fairness, the Michael Bloomberg Foundation doles out a lot of money to local cities to help them with crime fighting, etc. She then announces, that this was a mandatory meeting for her to participate in. Mandatory. What could be more mandatory
than laying to rest one of your own officers.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes with the job, right? I mean, if you're the mayor of a city and one of your police officers is deceased in the line of duty, paying your appropriate respects, I would think, would be, a mandatory function of the position you have.
And how often do officers get lost in the line of duty? Fortunately, that it should never happen, but
Right.
it happens every couple of years. This isn't something that happens on the regular.
Right.
And she says this is for mandatory. Now, as a human, I don't get the logic of missing a funeral for a city that you said you wanted to direct. And let's not forget, Kara Spencer ran on, I'm going to put 300 new officers on the
right.
I'm going to focus on policing in the city after all this defunding we've had. And she wants to go to a Michael Bloomberg for a symposium. Now, Michael Bloomberg, the fair and former mayor and billionaire from New York City. Do you think Michael Bloomberg would have missed a funeral for a fallen officer in the city of New York?
Can't imagine. I can't imagine. And we have lost officers in the city, and I would assume that the mayor went to every service.
Of course they should. And then you have to wonder, okay, so maybe the mayor has poor political judgment, and she's decided, man, this trip to Harvard means so much to me that I'm willing to do this.
Yeah, and you should have somebody in your sphere that's got, some political sense that is going to point out to you, Mayor, probably we need to go to this service.
Yeah, you just wonder when they're sitting around the table and they're saying, we're burying an officer, you're not going to be here because you say you're going to a mandatory. That word is so insulting to me, John, because I can't think of anything more mandatory than if you're the leader of the city burying one of your own.
100%.
Okay, so let's go on to our next political dumb thing of the week.
Wow.
Did you know that 1/5 of the population in the United States is Roman Catholic?
Oh, yes. Okay, I know where you're going here.
It is the largest single identifiable faith group in the United States.
Yep.
It also has been a group that, as of lately, in the last 10 to 15 years, has leaned to be more Republican than Democrat. And we now are watching the president of the United States attack a pope, saying that he's saying things and getting political. Now, listen, I'm a Catholic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I disagree with the Catholic Church on. But when you listen to what Pope Leo has said about war and conflict, it is no different than what we heard from Pope Francis, Pope John Paul, every pope ever has been saying the same thing.
And now you've got not just the president has taken, Lindsey Graham has come out.
Mike Johnson, Franklin Graham.
Yeah, Franklin Graham, which is, and then I saw a clip of Sean Hannity going off on the Catholic Church last night. So here's the thing. Not only is it, you say 1 in 5
Americans is a Catholic,
but let me tell you what Catholics make up a disproportionate share of in this country is the swing vote. And that's been true for generations. And so when you're going into a midterm election where the wind is already blowing in your face, and then you pick a fight with the leader of the largest swing vote faction in the country, that is bad politics.
And you're trying to make it political because this pope is saying nothing different than any other pope
And
has
I would
said.
suspect, because the pope is American, that in the American Catholic Church, he's probably held in pretty high regard. I mean, he speaks English very plainly, which is, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get the politics. But what I do get is that we need to step aside for a moment.
Yeah, we do.
It's Michael Kelley and John Hancock on KMOX. Chris and Amy just around the corner. We'll see you after this on the Voice of St. Louis.
Get ready to laugh out loud, St. Louis. The outrageous Broadway hit Spam-A-Lot is riding into the fabulous Fox Theater May 5th through the 17th. From the twisted minds of Monty Python, this Tony Award-winning musical brings you killer rabbits, dancing knights, and non-stop hilarity. It's the legend of King Arthur like you've never seen it before. More information can be found at KMOX.com/events.
1 in 4 people surveyed by Bankrate.com say they're literally losing sleep because of worries that they may have not saved enough to retire. If you're ready to get serious about planning for your financial future, You could start by listening to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All of the All Financial Group.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different. If you want assistance, we can also help you at that point.
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L, 544-3600.
Here in St. Louis, we take pride in supporting our health and our community. That's why more and more families are turning to Neovitin multivitamins, created by a local physician and made right here in the U.S. using the highest quality domestic and international ingredients. With formulas for men, women, and adults 50 plus, Neovitin helps keep St. Louis families energized, supported, and ready for life. Find Neovitin at your local Dierbergs, Schnucks, and online at neovitin.com. Neovitin. Trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
Our annual Customer Appreciation Days are back. Save 10 to 20% on your garden and landscape needs on April 24th through 25th. Visit www.chesterfieldvalleynursery.com for more details. KMOX will be live on site Saturday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
John, we're listening 1 month left in the Missouri legislative session, and Governor Kehoe advanced out of the Missouri Senate yesterday, one of his number one priorities, even though it doesn't appear to be a priority of the people of Missouri, to do away with the state income tax.
Yeah.
It's got to go back to the House, but it's very likely that people will be voting on this in an upcoming election.
Yeah. And the way it's set up is it will phase out the state income tax as economic conditions allow. And in order to get there will be a vote of the people that will either say, yes, I would like my income tax eliminated, or no, I'd like to keep paying income tax. We'll see how that vote goes.
Well, and right now, polling shows that's at about a 38% approval. So if we were to go just based on polling right now, the governor's proposal to do away with the income tax would likely fail. Why is that? Because almost 60-something% of the budget comes from the income tax. If we do away with that, oh yeah, you're doing away with the income tax, but you have to make that up elsewhere.
Sure.
You know what that's going to be? It's going to be a tax on everything. Every sales tax is going to go up, say things that have never been taxed before.
Well, we don't know that.
Up.
We don't know that.
Well, how are you going to make up $9 billion worth of revenue?
Well, you're going to sales tax is one place that you go. The sales tax is one place you go, but all of the metrics I've seen show that it is a net win for the taxpayer at any income level.
No doubt that it's a win for the taxpayer, particularly those at the top. Listen, if you're a billionaire, John Hancock, you and the billionaire will continue to buy the same amount of toilet paper. You and the billionaire will continue to buy the same amount of gas that you purchased prior to doing away with the income tax.
But the billionaire's
no longer going to be paying on their income tax.
He's buying boats. He's buying, expensive things that are going to be sales taxed. I mean, it's the sales tax and the income tax are equally regressive on people.
No, it's even more regressive on those at the bottom because the cost of things are going to go up. No, the income tax taps out, John. It's a percentage of your income
6%
at a certain point. And it does not measure out at the end of the day because basic life services are going to continue to have to be paid for, though some of those services now are going to be taxed, never been taxed before. And the people who are going to get hit the most are the ones at the bottom. This is yet another windfall for billionaires. Now, go ahead.
We're shifting the tax burden too, because when you look at, what our second largest industry is in this?
Agriculture and tourism.
Yes, tourism.
Okay.
So tourism, they're going to be in here paying the sales taxes and different things. And so the Missourians' share of the tax burden will be lessened.
Your party has controlled this state for almost a decade and a half now. You guys have cut taxes, and told us this is going to bring more population to the state of Missouri. Guess what's never happened? We haven't seen an increase in population in that This is just more giving to the top and making the bottom pay for it. And the idea that people are going to leave New York to come to Missouri when there are options to go to where the sun's at, Georgia, Florida, Texas, Arizona, it is nothing more than a grab for those at the top on the expense of those at the bottom.
Well, I disagree, Michael. And I do think we've got to grow commerce in our state. And not having an income tax.
How come it hasn't happened when you guys have cut all these taxes? We've cut the capital gains tax. We've cut the income tax. We've cut all this. You promised us that this was going to bring us economic commerce and people. Guess what's not happened? Economic commerce and people.
Well, we have added jobs in this state, and I do think that not having an income. Well, it's empirical, and the most like comparison to us is Tennessee, and Tennessee's booming.
Yeah, they've got Nashville, brother.
Yeah.
We got Branson. Woo-hoo!
Branson's a big draw.
Oh, yeah.
Chris and Amy are coming up right around the corner. It's Hancock and Kelley. Stick around and listen to KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Listening to music when you're over the age of 70 has been linked with a 39% reduction in the risk of dementia. Playing